What's going on, real one?
Laughing.
At
Birds.
Featuring
BCHQ.
I'm trying to set the scene up, but at the same time making sure that you know what I'm talking about.
Do we get into that more, or do we leave that? Because if people are watching this, like, it's going to be hard for us to do these without spoiling it, innit?
Perfect.
I think we're going to have to kind of not censor things, because otherwise people, do you know what I mean? People might come here that have already seen it as well, just to see what we thought of it.
You win.
This is what it is, okay? I said empty your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water.
You! What is all this? I warn you, you hurt yourself at your own fault. Keep working. Go! Come on.
Japan. Brazil. Come on. USA. China. India. Yoga. Spain. Spain. Thailand. Fight. Oh.
Come on! Fasten it up!
Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. And water can flow, or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
This fighting style concentrates on the bones, sinews, muscles, and the more fragile joints. All of the technique's power lies in the fingertips. The touch must be at once gentle and yet like an iron vice.
You trying to kill him?
What if I do? We caught the pair of them red-handed. It's what they deserve.
You're just a fool. Big one.
Well then, what do you do with food?
We kill him. And dump him.
The following program is intended
Yeah,
for
it is.
mature audiences.
Welcome.
What's up, cocksuckers? What are you doing? Check it out. This is what we are doing today. I'm waiting for my partner in crime here to show up so we could review this movie. Oh, he's gonna be hot probably, but whatever. We're gonna do it. I appreciate it. You know what's up, dude? Streets of Rage, sound effects. Definitely. It took me a while to put that together, but that was fun. That was fun to do, and I was really proud of it when I was done with it. Of course, now I hate it, but I mean, that's just the nature of creation. So, for everyone that is new around here, let me let you know what this is going to be about. Essentially, myself, BCHQ, a YouTuber, motivational speaker from England, we are on a 6-hour time difference. You know what I say to that? I say, blow me. That's what I say. I don't care about a 6-hour time difference. We do what the fuck we want. So we came up with somebody gave us the idea to review older movies. You know, like kung fu movies and shit. They don't necessarily have to be old. We started with Ong Bak. And I'm probably going to pronounce all of these wrong. Ah, thank you. I appreciate it. That's fucking awesome, dude. I don't know. I get it. So I don't know. Feels good, you know. I forgot you. For some reason, it doesn't allow you to click it when it goes through a separate link. So we started with Ong Bak, and now we are going to do Chinese Hercules. Now, in case you were unaware, it is English dubbed very badly, but it is. So you can watch it. You can find it on YouTube if you want to. But I'm gonna tell you now, this was a rough watch for me, dude. What's going on?
Yeah, we're gonna get into it. But just off the bat, I agree.
Oh man, I mean, dude, I seriously, I must have had to try to watch this movie 20 times until last night. I forgot that we were supposed to do this, and I was sitting in my living room. I'm watching The Blacklist, and James Spader said something to somebody, and I was like, "Oh fuck, I have to go watch the Chinese Hercules movie." I forgot. If I forget again, this motherfucker's gonna kill me, right?
I thought you'd already watched it.
I tried to watch it a whole bunch of times, but the quality of everything was so bad I couldn't sit through it. But then I finally got through it. The opening was really tough. I want to just jump right in it, dude. Fuck it. The opening was a little bit tough. Now I understand this was back in like the fucking 50s. Who knows how it was recorded? When I hear this audio, are you talking about Ong Bak with Tony? I don't know. I'm not sure. Is that who? The alligator and the kid, where they wipe out the kid's family and shit. We were fucking around watching the wrong goddamn movie.
we were there like, are you seeing what I'm seeing? And then he's like, no. And then I was like, what's it called? And we had different titles, so we worked out that we were watching different films.
Ridiculous, dude. This movie opens up and I'm surprised. There's a lot of shit that I would like to cover with this film.
I made a lot more notes with this one as well, so yeah.
All right, good. Well, I should have asked you, did you want to start off or do you want me to?
You can go ahead, it's fine.
Okay, so the first thing that I want to mention is I thought it was very interesting. I didn't realize this until the end, that the actual star that is in this film is not the main guy. I thought that was interesting. I don't think that's something that would happen in America necessarily. It seems like we seem to push the stars to the forefront while everybody else seems to take a back seat. So I did like that. But when the movie opens up, again, ahead of myself, the movie opens up and we see our main character in a living room just fucking up what looks to be a bag of sheets hanging up off of a wall, which is not a bad idea. I mean, I looked at that and said, shit, man, maybe I should do that in my living room, right? Like, but and then he's talking to a lady in there. They're going back and forth. If I remember, they're talking about her brother, right? Like they have some kind of a they have some kind of a beef with each other where I guess because this guy is like a low level, he's poor. So they don't want him to be messing with his sister because it's all classism is a very big deal, I guess, or at least it might have been then. I mean, it still is now for a lot of us, but I'm not going to get into it, you know. But yeah, there you go. You got it. Devo's got it. Appreciate it. Shit. So that's where it starts out. Now, here's what I find interesting. They're arguing about whether this dude is gonna fight anymore or not, because apparently he's already, where they put us into this film, he has already decided, I'm not gonna fight anymore. My hands are weapons and all they do is hurt. I don't want to be that guy. So you got to respect that right off the bat, right? But then here comes this dude, her brother now, and he instigates a fight. Now, this shit killed me, dude. When I was watching it, this shit made me mad because I was like, dude, like fucking, he's asking for it, dude. Just fucking hit him. Just fucking hit him. He's not gonna, but I understand. I was that guy. So I know exactly, I am that guy. So I know exactly what that is.
This was us a few weeks back. Do you remember?
Yeah. I was gonna bring that up too, but I honestly just fucking jumped right into the goddamn film just so we could get into it. But
I'm still trying to get my plane ticket, but
yeah. Well, I'm glad that you can see the humor in that, because honestly, when I recorded that, for what he's talking about, if you're not aware, if you go onto my YouTube channel, there's a skit that I recorded called Anger Anonymous. But that's because, look, I'm a mentally ill individual. You could write to me, hi, how are you? I hope you're having a good day. And I will read that as, hey, cocksucker, go fuck yourself, but I hope you die. That's how I read it because I'm ill and I have issues. Me and Dan Soder, you know, Bob Fire, Sirius XM, Channel 95, Monday through Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m. have the same issues. We're both fucked up in our brains. But so, you know, miscommunication, you should definitely go and listen to that skit. I was trying to be serious about it, but I kept getting fucking interrupted while I was recording it. And then it just kind of hit me.
Just before we stopped talking about it, it was funny because you was like at the rage, like at the top of the rage, and then you got Jen in the background, just like calm as hell, and then it was just crazy. It was like, you know, like the old school wrestling, like when they used to do like the promos and that.
It's like a promo, yeah. I mean, dude, I fucking, I don't know, man. I need to do something with my goddamn life, dude. I feel like I got too much. I could probably run it, dude. Yesterday, I was just looking up how to write storytelling for a comedy, dude. I think I need to do so. I don't know if that's what it is, but I feel like I could run a stage if I was given the opportunity and I'm prepped enough. I think I might be able to do it so I can place this energy somewhere that is not trying to buy plane tickets for
That's
fucking...
what it is. It's just finding something to channel it. Do you know what I mean? Like you said a minute ago at the beginning of this film where he's letting out all that pent up aggression and everything. Like you just need to find something to do that for yourself. Right.
When it's not... This is good. Like, if I didn't have this, I would be going crazy. But the problem with this is the numbers and all of that just dominate the entire thing. It's impossible not to look at that. I wish there was a button that I could just turn it off just while I create and do things, so I don't have to be sidetracked with that. But I also have to learn to separate the two things. That's why it's there. You need analytics. You can't ignore it. And if people are not showing up, then you got to figure out what are you doing wrong that are not allowing people to show up. I understand this is the World Wide Web and people can look and find anything that they want, but that's why it is your job, meaning my job, to try to figure out how do I beat the algorithm? How do I force these people to understand that what I'm doing is something that's worth watching? That's the difficult part. But, you know, just switch back into the movie quickly. The two characters, the brother and him, begin to have an exchange. And now eventually what I find interesting is he doesn't fight back right away. And he even goes as far as to saying, the brother, while he's punching him, is like, come on, like, I want you to fight. It's no fun. He actually said it's no fun unless you fight back. And the guy is like, dude, I'm telling you, don't push me. That's what the man said. Did he listen? Of course he didn't listen. So what does he do? He pulls a fucking knife out. Which is clearly is a bitch move. This man does not have, our main character doesn't have a weapon on him, and you're going to pull out a knife and try to stab him behind his back. You don't even have the decency to stab him in front of his face. But now that forces our character to break out of that, I'm not going to fight. And now it's either I'm going to die or I have to defend myself. And now one thing leads to another. And now this dude, from one punch to the chest up against the tree, is seeming to have died. And now everybody wants to make a big deal about the fact that this dude is dead. How about we focus on the fact that he just pulled a knife out on our guy and that's self-defense? Why are we all carrying on like he was just murdered in cold blood? Like, what is happening here?
And also, like, when that scene's happening, he's like, the brother is walking with his mates, like, and they're just joking about. And then he just switches, and it's like, Jesus, how crazy is this guy?
Yeah, immediately, like, he goes from in the middle of singing a song, to he moves a tree branch and sees him there, and he's like, oh shit! Like, now it's just immediately. It's like when it seems like if you pull off real quick on the side of the road and you run into a store to take a leak and you come back out and there's a ticket on your windshield, that's basically the reaction that this dude had to seeing this guy, which is ridiculous. But so that's how we open up. And what I really what I also found interesting was I think it was shortly after that scene, this guy now having fought again, apparently after swearing never to do so, decides to take some time, move away, go to a pier, work, but he took a rock on a beach and he broke his fucking hands himself.
That was gruesome, wasn't it? Like that
Yeah.
happens in like this is all within like the first 5 minutes of the film. It's like Jesus.
Dude, I mean that really set it up to show like this is what our character is all about. Like this dude is willing to go as far as to break his own hands because he went back on his word. This is not a man who fucks around at all. And then to go on beyond that, and then you're working and you're getting yelled at by what is all this? What is all this? I'm assuming that he was taking like 8 shifts at his job where they're moving 200-pound bags of rice off of the boats and shit, which is where this all, surprisingly, I didn't see this coming into the plot. I didn't realize that was the direction they were going to go in. But so this dude I'm getting a little ahead of myself. This dude he's broken his own hands, but he's gone to work. He's trying to be legitimate, and he doesn't want to fight. So I'm telling you, I don't know what it is. This happens in real life. It happens in movies. Whenever you make a decision not to do something, if you decide that you're not going to look for an altercation, the first thing's going to happen is somebody's going to bring one to you. It's almost like they're testing you, like, are you sure about that? Let's see where your resolve really is. So, of course, that this is what brings the film into becoming what it is. Because now, this guy, I don't know what it was that made him choose to not fight anymore, but I would have to imagine it must have been that he killed somebody at some point.
Say, like, because doesn't he die at the beginning, the brother? I got the impression he's dead.
Yeah, so did I, because they were like, you murdered him, you killed him, and then he runs off.
I'm just assuming that after that, he's just scared because he knows that even if he tries to avoid it, like you said, people are going to test him, and he feels like he doesn't have control of the power in his hands, basically. He feels like he's kind of like some godlike power in him that he's going to kill anyone that he touches. That's the kind of impression I was getting from it. So he's kind of like scared of the damage he can do, like he can't control it.
The interesting part of it is that he even goes as far as he gets beat up several times in this film by his own choice. Like he literally just stands there and takes the beating, and they're really trying to get him to fight. And even what I find the most interesting about that is even the other people that he works with will mention this. They talk amongst themselves while they're watching this stuff happen. And, some of them even say, like, I know that this guy could fight. Why is he standing and taking it? Like the movie is almost trying to explain to you what is happening if you're having a hard time keeping up with what's going on. The one thing I will say that I did not like about this film was the transition seemed to be a bit all over the place. It's kind of hard to keep up with, especially because we're dealing with an English dub, which is great. But, you're going to, I think there's some stuff that's always going to be lost to translation. There's not a whole lot you can do.
I think the dubbing, again, it was just awful, wasn't it? It's just so cheesy. I've never seen dubbing in a martial arts film that I'm like, that's spot on. And even the first bit note I wrote down when I was watching it was just, I think, from him hitting the bag at the beginning, just the sound effects.
Oh, dude, they're so terrible. That's what made it so difficult for me to watch it, because those noises are so loud and just goes right through your fucking ears, dude.
I just think that they overdo it so much.
Yeah. Which I don't.
That was the first thing I wrote down was the sound effects. Well,
I was gonna say, if you wanna jump into your notes a little bit, dude, we can go back and forth.
So you've already covered quite a few of them anyway, like the starting ones. I was just get the impression that like when he's on the beach and at the beginning, he's killed that brother in the nighttime, and then he hasn't like been anywhere to sleep. Like he's walked the whole morning through, and then he flipping crushes his hands to piece. Like that scene, I was like, whoa, is it going to get worse than this in the film? Because that, like you said, it's just like just over the top from the beginning.
Yeah.
What else have I got? I noticed that the main villain in it, because there's like what do they call it? Like a cartel sort of thing going on, isn't there? With like a Chinese.
The syndicate.
That's the one, yeah. Like the main guy that brings in like the muscly like bad guy in it. I've noticed that he's in. I've got his. I had to search his name. It's
Bolo Young.
Yeah, that's the one. He's in Bloodsport. He's in Enter the Dragon, like with Bruce Lee. I've noticed him in quite a lot of the old martial arts films, and like because when you see this film, you kind of think like low budget. Do you know what I mean? Like grainy.
Yeah.
And it was good to see him in there because, like, for me, that's someone I grew up sort of not necessarily knowing his name, but knowing his face as soon as you see him in a film.
Yeah.
And I thought it's good to see him in this because, like, I wasn't expecting someone. When you think of him in like a Bruce Lee film or Van Damme, and then you see him in this, it's like it's kind of. I think it adds to the film. Like, if he wasn't in this, I don't think I would have liked it. Like, I didn't like. We'll get to the ratings and that anyway, but I feel like he added something good to the film.
I mean, I also found it interesting that he had very little dialogue, if any at all. I think I only heard him speak maybe 2 or 3 times out of the whole film, whereas basically him just walking around on camera was just them letting you know that he's there. But I like that he is the star, and he's not even the main guy in the movie, which is great. But yeah,
I think it adds to it, doesn't it? Where like when sometimes the dialogue adds to certain characters, but in this, like you said, like because of that, when he's in a scene, you're like, oh shit, it's about to go down.
Right, and not only that, because he doesn't talk so much, like you were just probably about to say, the fact that he doesn't have so many lines makes it that much more important when he does finally speak, you pay attention. Because he's not...
Even if it's like something that you're like, oh, that's a bit... Like, because, like you said, like, you're not expecting him to be, like, articulate or anything anyway. Like,
yeah.
You're like just there to do business, and, like, so it doesn't even matter. What else? One thing I didn't like from this, I don't know why particularly, but I didn't like the environment of like what do they call it? Like the piers and that of how they're working and that. I felt it was very like I just thought it was boring.
Well, you know what? It might have been. I mean, I'm not sure. I haven't looked into. I really should have did a little research into this film. But now that we're talking about it, now that you mention it, that kind of makes me want. I wonder if this was a film that they spent their entire budget on getting Bolo to come in to be on the cast. That they were like, oh, we've spent it all. Now where the hell are we gonna shoot? I guess we'll go to this pier over here and we'll just shoot the whole movie right here, and we'll probably use the director's house. Because it was the pier and they used the house. That was it. Only one house. But yeah, the boss, their boss from their job. These guys all work at a pier where they're moving rice off of boats or whatever it is that happens to be coming in. They have a boss who is a fucking piece of shit. Like, I know that if you're a grunt worker, chances are you do have a shitty boss. Unfortunately, it sucks that we can't even really get representation on the low level. But I mean, this guy, I'm assuming that he has to have had mob ties at some point, because very early on in the film, he is approached by a member of what is referred to as the syndicate. It's never much more clear other than the fact that it is some type of mob or gang organization. But this boss comes in and he says to the guy who runs the pier, listen, you need to get rid of all these workers. we want to use this for something other than what it's being used for now, pretty much. So get it done. Now this boss goes to the manager of all the workers, and he's like, look, I'll pay you to get rid of these guys. But also another thing that I like is it seems that, and I know I'm all over the place, but it seems that honor is a big fucking deal in this movie, because when the boss approaches the manager to the work site and says, tell all your people to move and I will pay you, you don't ever have to worry about working another day in your life, whatever it is, the guy is like, dude, these are not just my coworkers, these are my friends. I'm around these guys all day, every day. I can't betray them for any kind of money. But their boss, the reason why he's a dick, dude, is if they paid you, there's a scene after the sex scenes of this movie are fantastic. Though I do really enjoy them.
I forgot about it, to be honest.
But
It's just sound effects again as well, isn't it? 'Cause he's like, and then he gets it's the boss, isn't it, at one point, and she's like trying to get him in bed or something, and he's just like, just his facial expressions, and then he's like, and then he like, do you know what
Bro,
I mean?
my favorite thing, he's in the middle of having sex with her. He's in the middle of having sex with her, and then he just pulls out and jumps off the bed and goes starting counting his money. Like, what are you doing? No man would do that ever. No man would do that ever, right? She's like, what are you doing? He's like, I've always been rich, but I've never seen this much money. Like, bro, this guy's a fucking douche, man.
Do you know there's a scene in it as well where the girl who is the sister from the beginning, she like finds him and that, and she gets beaten up like real like bad. I thought like even more so.
Where they were
like,
stealing the rice.
Yeah,
That's the part that I have.
I said the sister, but I was getting mixed up with that other woman.
Yeah. But that's because they do kind of, they have similar, the hair is similar, and they're kind of both, they have similar facial features, not because they're both Chinese or whatever they are.
Yeah, that like I'm being like that now. But like, yeah, basically in the film, there's these two like poor people, and they get caught robbing near the pier. There's a male and a female, and they get like exposed in front of like the syndicate and that are there at that point, and they basically get beaten up, but they go to town on the woman more than the bloke, and I was like, whoa, like I was just not expecting it, and it's going to sound horrible, but I think that was quite cool to see because you're not expecting it.
Well, no, it's equality. It's equality on a whole nother level. That's another reason why I said that Misery is a film that would never be made today. If you gave Stephen King the opportunity to make it today, it would never be made because of the fact that James Caan and Kathy Bates, a man and a woman, have a physical altercation. In this film, the Chinese Hercules, they weren't afraid. They were like, oh, cool. So a guy and a woman are robbing us. We're going to beat the shit out of both of them. And we'll even give it to her a little bit worse just to show you we're not afraid. We're not afraid to dole out the punishment around here. I do respect that. When movies have the balls to do things like that, it lets me know that I'm in for a ride, and whatever is going to happen may be unpredictable. So I do appreciate that. That's actually one of the scenes that's in our intro for this show, where he says, you're going to kill him? And the other guy's like, what if I do? I caught them red-handed. That's what I'm talking about. They were stealing rice. And then some of the workers even go as far as to try to bail them out. They offer up their own money to be like, all right, enough with the beating. We'll pay you. Just leave them alone and let them go on their way. And of course, the boss is like, well, you don't have enough. They've been robbing us for months. There's no way you can cover it. And then in comes the star of the film, right? This little skinny guy who is so small, but just a monster. Just so you can't underestimate people because of their size. That's another
Got
thing.
dynamite in his hands.
Yeah, yeah. But
He's like
dude,
Mike Tyson without muscle.
seriously. But I mean, that this dude gives up a month's worth of work money, and they still try to say that it's not enough. But it just that also goes to show you, I guess, how seriously that they take being robbed. I mean, whether it's a syndicate, I mean, just in the culture as a whole.
You're gonna see me looking to the side in that. I'm just letting you know and everyone viewing. I'm not like not listening. I'm just looking at my notes and that as well.
I figured.
But you're covering a lot of it anyway. Like what we just spoke about, I was going to mention anyway. But you're going through it anyway, so you're doing it for me. So yeah, but I noticed as well. I put down in the notes that that bit where they offer to pay the syndicate and that, and then the bloke gets beaten up. But it was literally for about 5 minutes, like
that was
about 5 minutes, like just beating the shit out of him.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was on my couch, I was cursing the fucking movie out, dude. Like, fucking annoying sound effects, god damn it. Like, it's a good fight scene if you could just, and I just like, you know what, just, I found myself muting a lot of the time because I'm like, well, I don't want to skip the fight scene because Jen is like, why don't you just skip it? I go, if I skip it, I'm gonna miss something, and then I'm gonna have no idea what's going on. I can't do that. Have to sit through it. Got to deal with it. So just mute it, unmute it. It's not like the good thing about these films. I think you don't necessarily need the dialogue. You can go without it if you watch it. You can kind of piece together what's going on. But because it was dubbed in English, I mean, I do love the fact at the end there's a line at the end of the film that well, one of the guys says, "Hey, look, it's a piece of shit. What do we do with a piece of shit?" We play. He says, we toss it away, or we flush it, whatever he said. He's like, right. Like, just fucking great, dude. That had really nothing to do with anything. I love that was a line in a movie.
There's another scene in there as well that it's not even that long, but they've got like a little village where they live, and there's like a mum and a dad and a little kid that lives in this like, shack thing. And,
what was that about?
I don't know, like, but I put a note down that the kids, like, there was basically child abuse going on from the dad.
Oh fuck it, he was beating that child. Serious.
The kid was hungry.
Yeah, he's like, you can't be hungry.
The kid is starving, and obviously, I don't know, I think it must be because they're they're not getting paid or whatever at that point. But and then he's like beating the shit out of his kid for crying because he's hungry. And I was like, it's just another one of them scenes. You're just like, whoa, like what? Like you said, unless you're like an independent film company nowadays, that's not getting put on a TV.
No, wait, but that's actually like I'm not saying it's right, but that shit happens. That people get
I don't think it helps that the fact that it happens, but nowadays we try and ignore it.
Yeah, that's no good. I think we need to go back to being able to people for years we put light on uncomfortable situations, and doing that has it has not stopped these uncomfortable situations, but it does help to spread awareness, and maybe you never know what might stop somebody in their tracks from making a bad decision. You know, I know Bill Burr even makes the joke, like, what do you think? Do you honestly think that wife beaters are sitting at home watching football and see an ad for domestic abuse and go, oh, fuck, I've been doing it wrong this whole time. I'm not supposed to do that. I'm sorry, honey. Here, let me help you back up, sweetie. Here, you go sit down on the couch. Like, no, of course not. But you can't say for sure. You never know. There could be somebody that has grown up and seen that their entire life where they just think that that's normal behavior to do that. So, you know, it is important for us to be able to put a fucking light on these things and to talk about it. Just because if we don't, this is what's going to wind up happening, is that, you know, everybody just pretends that these things don't exist, because that's not true at all. I just don't understand the purpose behind it. But I do like the guy, while he's beating his child, our main character goes over there. He's like, "Hey, leave him alone." And the guy that's beating the kid turns to him and says, basically, "Hey man, why don't you mind your business? Okay, we're stuck here. We don't have anywhere to go. This pier is our livelihood. You can move on. We can't." And then even the main character turns around to go so far as to say, like, "I can't go anywhere either. We're all in this shit together." But basically, beating your kid because he's hungry is not the solution we're all looking for. But that was powerful too. Just that they were even willing to go that far. It seems like this movie was not. They weren't shy. They're not shy about getting their point across, and I like that. I feel like that's important to do.
There was another scene in it as well where it's one of the workers goes to the boss's house to.
I was just thinking about that.
And I can't remember exactly how they do it in that, but they end up killing him, and I'm just like,
They beat him to death.
It's like this. What did they do?
They beat him to death.
You watched it last night, didn't you?
Yeah.
See, I ain't watched it. I watched it about a month ago, like, so it's not fresh in my head. But like, yeah, he's going there to, like, for the good of his people and the other workers, and I'm just, before he even gets there, you're like, this ain't gonna be good. And then, like, it's just brutal.
It really is. I mean, the fact that he goes there, what I find interesting too is they even show the conflict before that, where there's two workers who are friends with our main character to a degree, right? And one of these guys is talking about, all right, well, you know what? If we can't have our jobs, then I'm gonna go up to the fucking boss's house and I'm gonna fight this motherfucker and I'm gonna make him change his mind. And he says to the guy that's with him, basically, like, "Look, I don't want you to come with me because I know that you're too scared to do it, but I need you to keep your fucking mouth shut and don't tell anybody I'm doing this." So he does, unfortunately, because while you're watching the film, this guy goes up to the boss's house. The boss has security for days in there. There's people everywhere, which, I mean, I appreciate this spirit of wanting to go to the boss's house to try to get your jobs back and make your community whole again. But the fact that this guy, you had to know going in, there was no way you were gonna walk out of there. But so how they actually wind up killing it, they beat him to death. The ending right before they cut the screen and go back to whatever was going on, they have a small back and forth, the guy and the boss, and then the boss just gets all of his goons and they just stomp him out. They just beat him to death. And then immediately after that, one thing that I thought was interesting, and I'm not sure if this is a Chinese culture thing or if this is maybe just based out of some type of religion, but when the coworker, I guess, found out that his friend had died, he put a box together and he put a dead bird in it, and then closed it up with nails and put it into the ocean for it to go and float off wherever it's supposed to go. I don't know if that was a gesture to try to help this guy's soul or what that was about, but
Yeah, I didn't really understand that, but I think it would, like you said, I think it was probably to symbolize, like, his spirit, like, being let free, I reckon. Like, I don't know, it's hard to say in it because it's also obviously like a different culture as well, so it could mean something totally different.
Yeah, but I mean, there's go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, another worker went to fight the boss and actually dislocates his shoulder when he's fighting him, and then I put down that he broke the boss's leg. As I said, this is weird for me now because I watched it so long ago. I've got my notes, but I can't remember it properly. But
I remember the leg break because how they broke it is just it's the worst. Dude. It's the fucking worst.
It's like
They-
another misery, isn't it?
yeah, I mean they put this guy's leg on a fucking rock and then they elbow it and they break it. I'm just watching like, oh, dude, I
But
feel it.
remember as well, you got the sound effects that add into it, which just make it worse.
Especially because they're bad. Fucking ridiculous, dude. I mean, the boss, I don't understand. How the fuck are you? How have you gotten to this level, dude? You're like 120 pounds if we soaked you in water. You don't fight anybody. Like, what? How did you get to this position? Although I do like that he got fucked up. That made me happy. I was like, yeah, fuck that piece of shit. You know, I'm glad they fucking beat him up. You know, and then of course comes back later. How about when the boss tears down the entire? I guess that was a lunch area or whatever it is that was set up by the pier. There was
yeah.
restaurant where all the workers would go, and yeah. Oh, well, that the other thing I wanted to mention too. We go back a little bit when you were talking about how the girl and the guy were getting beat up for stealing. Our main character offers the money to try to make this right, and later on, the workers go back to this place where they all eat after work or whatever, and they go up to the guy that runs the place, and two of our worker friends say to the bartender or whoever he is, like, hey, when our main character gets here, you know, his drinks and his food are on us, you know, because of what he did today. And the bartender looks at them and he goes, well, you guys are going to have to get in line because every fucking body in here wants to pay for that guy's shit right now. Which I was like, you know what, dude? That's, yeah, I like that. I like that. You know, everybody recognizes, like, you know, that was and it wasn't, I don't even think they did it because this dude was doing it because it was the right thing to do, not because he wanted to win the affection of these people or because he wanted other people to think that he was a good person. He was just doing what he felt was right. And I think when you do that, people can see whether your intentions are genuine or not.
Yeah.
But
he's one of them people, like, even though it's like made up, like, he's like, what you see is what you get in it. Like, he's not, like you said, he's not doing it for like what you're gonna do for me now.
right, yeah, not at all. And the ironic part is that, you know, I'm not sure if he gets where he's at, but somehow the people that were robbing, they go back and they find, I guess, where he lives or where he was staying.
That irritated me. There's a few scenes like that in there where he's like laying, trying to sleep and stuff, and they're just like through like this little window, like the flipping child snatcher out of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's just like they were, to me, like, obviously they were struggling and stuff, but like I felt it was a little bit desperate, the scenes from them two in the film. Like, I feel like, I don't know, they just seem very needy and beggy. Do you know what I mean? I didn't like
Well, yeah,
it.
there's that, and then the fact that they go to his window, they wake him up, right? And now he sits up, and he's completely okay with this. By the way, he's not even upset at all in the least bit. He actually looks kind of happy that they showed up, which I really don't understand. But
Whereas, by
okay.
the way, just for people that are watching this, if someone did that to Jack, he'd probably, first thing he'd do is go and pick a knife up and chase him.
Oh, dude, terrible. Like if you're calling me in the middle of the night or any time before fucking 8 a.m., somebody better be dead or on their way to fucking dying, dude. Because like, come on now. I don't mind helping out in emergency, but there better be stress in your voice. You're calling me that goddamn early. But dude, he says to them, this is the part that fucking, I almost threw my remote at my television when I heard this shit. He says to them, hey, listen, man, I'm glad I was able to help you. And I'm paraphrasing. I'm glad I was able to help you, but you motherfuckers can't steal no more. And they were like, well, dude, we have to. Deal, we're not gonna live. And he's like, I can't bail you out all the time, stupid. What do you think? I'm gonna just be able to do this always? He's like, you guys gotta go get a job, son. I don't know what you're doing with your life.
Also, I noticed as well with that is, I know that they're not sure when they're going to get food in that again, but even from the beginning of the film, it's like, how much are you trying to steal? They had like sandbags worth of it. I'm like, Jesus, like, how much are you trying to take? Just take
seriously, like what happened to just filling your pockets and then going back later? Something to be said for greed, dude. Like, obviously you're not, if you were really that hungry, I would imagine you would take whatever you could and then run home and make that shit so you could eat it. I do understand wanting to hoard the extra food while you have it, but that's why you got fucking caught. You got greedy. Gotta just take what you can. But I mean, the fact that those people showed up at his house and he allowed that to happen. Now I don't know where they went. There's no follow-up with them in the film. After they visit him at his house, those characters just kind of disappear. And I understand maybe they're not so important to the film anymore, but I would kind of like, if you're going to introduce me to characters, can you at least trail them off so I know what happened? What can you do? So, moving from that, what saved this movie for me, because I think this, despite that there are plenty of good things that I can say about this film, I fucking hated it. But one thing that saved it for me was the fight scene between the main character and Bolo. Because
you know it's going to happen, don't you? But it's so drawn out that you're like, the film's like going to end soon. You're like, what's happening? Like, I think it takes so long to get like to it to happen. But yeah.
I just before I forget, I want to actually rewind a little bit because I almost skipped this, and I don't want to skip it because this is also, I feel, very culturally important. Now, the syndicate has the boss. They've called the boss to the syndicate place to ask him, why is it that you have not gotten these fucking grunt workers off of our goddamn pier yet?
I was going to talk to you about this a minute ago. I was going to say, there's something I wanted to say, go back a bit, because when he's there as well, like, have you seen Scarface?
Yes.
Like, when he's can't remember the guy's name, but he goes to his house. And then
So
the helicopter scene. Yeah, and then you get the helicopter scene.
Yeah. I'm only gonna tell you once, Tony. Don't you ever try to fuck me.
And then, like, they say all that, and then they're like, "Do you want a drink?" And you're like, "Yeah."
Yeah. Oh, cool. You hang people out of helicopters around here? All right, let's go have a drink. Yeah, get the fuck. I would be like, check, please. I'm getting the fuck out of here. But I mean, I guess that's the cocaine.
Offer you anything at that point, and you're going to be in so much fear that you'll be just be like, "Yeah, sure." You know what I mean? Like, but when I was watching that scene,
how about a new pair of drawers, please?
It kind of, even though it don't go to that extreme like it does in Scarface, that scene reminded me of that scene in Scarface because, like, you can sense the tension, and he does get a little bit beat up in it, I think, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But, like, before that happens, like, he's just so on edge, just sat there talking to him, and then you've got that Bo Leng or whatever his name is in the background, just waiting to pounce on him as well.
My favorite thing is whenever something dramatic happens, they don't just show you the action. Like what we're gonna talk about right here is the boss go to the syndicate house. Bolo is behind him, waiting to give the order because as the audience, when you're sitting and you're watching this, just like B was saying, nothing good is coming out of this meeting. There's
a certain move in this that I think you're going to address in a sec.
Yeah.
It does to him, like, it's ridiculous.
Like, dude, how they wind up killing the boss, I guess, for not cooperating quickly enough, is Bolo literally comes behind him and he takes his forearms and he squeezes them together. Now, here's the most important part of this action is when he does this, he goes like this to the man's head, and then the camera backs up and focuses in on Bolo's lower spine muscle, and when he goes like this, the muscle in the back tightens up, the camera zooms in, and I guess at that point we're supposed to believe the strength from the arms and that back muscle twitch has been enough to crush this guy's brain internally. Because
But
apparently,
before that, do you remember? He literally picks him up above his head via his balls.
oh shit, yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
I was like, that don't even look real. Like, he
No.
literally, like, ragdolled him via his nuts.
Insanity, dude. The
One
fact
hand
that
as well.
some of the shit that these guys were, I kind of wonder how the fuck did they pull that? Did they have him wear a cup? You know, were there strings? Because I don't think they had strings and shit like that. I think a lot of this stuff then was kind of real.
He'd have probably crushed the cup, even if he had one on. Like,
Dude. It's just rough. I mean, that's a lot to do for a movie, but damn. I mean, dude, that's here's the culture part that is interested is once they kill the boss, the syndicate boss says, all right, who is the second in command? And you know, our manager, second in command, tough guy who put the order to beat the shit out of the girl and the guy for stealing the rice, all of a sudden doesn't have a ball sack anymore. He's like, no, not me. And then of course, in typical gangster fashion, who comes walking out of the house but the girlfriend that we saw earlier? And she goes, actually, I was second in command. And the boss turns to her and he's like, all right, I guess we can work something out. Like I'm assuming it must be like when for a woman to do that, dude, like it is just understood that you're such a bad motherfucker. Like at some point it goes beyond the fact that, you know, you're a woman and this is predominantly a man's game. It's like I hate to say it, but it's like a white dude hanging out with a bunch of black guys. Like, you know, that motherfucker had to earn that spot, dude. You know, they don't just hang out with nerds.
she's like, well, yeah, like, she almost has the biggest set of balls in the film, like, at points.
Ugh.
Like, because she shows up and she, like, gets in the main guy's face, like, and basically just tells him that he ain't shit if he don't, like, respond and don't fight. And then, like, that G's him up to, like, actually go and fight. But she, before he even fights, she goes and fights the syndicate boss. Like, she's like, work's not getting done. I'm gonna fucking do the work.
Yeah, like, oh, where did this fucking lady come from? Like, they don't make them like her anymore, dude. Just a savage, all around savage. To be a woman in that time, and then not only that, but you're gonna fight the boss of a fucking syndicate. Serious business. But you know what though, dude? That is the kind of ruthlessness that you need if you're gonna survive. Like Lucy Liu,
Yeah.
Kill Bill. You
Like
seen
you
that?
said a
Right?
minute ago, like like not every woman, or same goes for a bloke. Like, you can't go and just hang around the other opposite sex, like in a harsh environment like that, and survive without being like that.
Yeah, no, you gotta earn it. Especially you gotta be even more ruthless if you don't look and sound like everybody else you're surrounded by, because you have to let them know that you mean business, and if it comes down to it, I'll take all you motherfuckers out.
But she's so boss in it, because she goes and, like, slags the bloke off, like, you need to fight back, and then she goes and does it, like, I'm gonna lead by example before you even fucking do fight back. Like, it's just like, I just wanted to, like, applaud her. Like, it's just crazy.
It really is. I mean, I love that though, dude. I love when movies do shit like that, because to me, if you're like, see, the problem is people will look at like a Lucy Liu and a Kill Bill, or this lady in this movie, and they'll be like, oh, that would never, you know, that's not realistic. Like, no, absolutely, I believe that's realistic, just because of how it shows you how much harder they have to work to get where they are. And you
I
know,
think as well with the newer characters, not just Lucy Liu, but other fighters and that, and just in general, like they sexualize it a lot more now, don't they? So I think that added to the film as well, because she's not like, you don't look at her and be like, oh, I can't wait for her to be naked. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I
she's not
fucking
necessarily like, she's not ugly, but like, I didn't even look at her like, oh, she's all right. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, not at all.
It's like,
Exactly, not at all. Not one time did it ever even enter my mind. Not once. Which is good. I mean, I think that if that's what we're working on, we have a problem with that over here in America, man. Like, dude, listen, I'm
it's
all
like it over here now as well. Like, I think it's always kind of been like that over where you are, but I think we're getting more like it as well now as well.
I don't like, because dude, you're taking, listen, there's, of course, women, sexy, powerful, all that shit is great, but if you're trying to make a woman the lead of a fucking action movie, I don't care about what her body looks like. I want to see her perform. Just like, if we're gonna do that, then put James Bond in a fucking Speedo, is all I'm saying. Yeah.
I don't think, even if they had have like sexualized her in that film, it wouldn't have worked because of how the film is, like, because of how like sort of in your face and like over the top it is. I don't think it would have worked even if they had tried that with her.
Yeah, no way. I mean, dude, don't get me wrong. If the scene calls for, the woman to use her ability to be sexy in her favor, like if she's an assassin, let's say, and the only way that she can get to her target is if she has to put on a little bit of a revealing outfit, work her way into the room to get the job done. I understand that, and let's go for it. But at the same time, I don't want, and I am not a bleeding heart in the sense that I'm going to be like, oh, hashtag feminism and all that shit. I mean, I believe in equal rights. I think some people take it a little bit too far. A whole different conversation for another day. But the point is that, let's just have, if a guy can play in an action movie and not have to worry about having his ball sack make an appearance, why is it not the same? Why is it not the same for a woman? I want a powerful woman that's not going to be sexualized. I don't want to think, if I'm thinking about fucking you the whole film, I'm not considering how valuable what you're bringing to the screen is, unfortunately. And I'm not sure if that is a director choice, is that the production company who's making these choices. But I mean, there's a lot of really good women that I think are gonna, they're not valued as much as they should be, simply because of the fact that they're exploited in a sexual way where it allows people to go, nah, I mean, it's okay, but it's an action movie with a broad in it. Like, we're past that. I don't understand, if we've done movies like this or even others, we've proven that it can be done. So why, I don't understand why we fuck around. You know
I'd
what I
be
mean?
interested to know the percentage of films that from that sort of time period of that are more like this one, where they've got a woman in it that's involved in the film, but she's not getting sexualized. Because I was just thinking, even in like Enter the Dragon, when they go to that island and that, they basically run in like a whorehouse as well in certain scenes.
Oh shit.
And that's got like Bruce Lee in that, and that's like his most famous film. And but even in scenes of that, they've got like a whorehouse where they're bringing the women into the fighters' rooms, and they're like, pick one. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
like, it's crazy. So, but I think that was around the same sort of time period. I might be wrong on that, but not that far away in certain like amount of years from when this one would have been made. But I don't know if it's just more of a mainstream thing, or that's why I'd be interested to know the percentage of it, because hopefully I'd like to think that there's more out there that are like this one, where you don't even look at her and have that thought. Because nowadays it's like 10 out of 10 of the films, even if she's a badass, there's going to be that sexual side to it as well.
But yeah, I was gonna say, I do kind of want. That's a good point that you bring up. Is because it's such a mainstream film. Did they throw in that angle of the whorehouse bit? because it's such a big film and you have to check all the boxes.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we have action, we have naked women. It's like a
Tick the
fucking
box, isn't it?
requirement. Yeah, ridiculous. Whereas maybe this one, because it was a little bit of a lower budget film, they didn't have to worry about doing all that. Where they were, but unfortunately, sometimes that's what makes the independents better than the larger films, is because they go right to the heart of the action. They're not afraid to not only introduce you to it, but to keep the hits coming. Whereas the larger movies, they almost seem afraid, like they feel like the audience
It's
won't.
like it's not going to be good enough, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Like insecurity kind of thing. I think
which
you're right.
sucks.
Like even if you throw one scene in there, like that probably could work at times. But like even in that Enter the Dragon, there's about 2 to 3, maybe more scenes in there where there's like naked girls, and do you know what I mean? And I'm like, this is just filler. Like this doesn't even add to the story in any way. Like what's going on?
Oh shit. I mean, dude, there was, not to get off topic, but there was a movie that popped up when I was done with this one, that popped up as an end screen, is the Wu-Tang Collection Taoist Master, I think. And this one is updated. This one seems to be more updated. I only bring it up because it seems to be newer. There's special effects in it and shit. I'm not sure if it's made by the same director or whatever. I mean, I have to look into it, but I'm not
Well, we
sure.
already know that the sound effects is going to be A class, so we ain't got to worry about that.
Yeah. Well, that's the good thing is I did watch a little bit of it, like literally I think maybe the first 2 minutes of it while I was messaging you before I took the dog out. And I was like, oh man, like it's not English dubbed and there are English subtitles, but the difference between going from the film that we watched just to a moment of this one, it's like night and day. But I mean, I like that the older films like the one that we watched do exist though, because it does give you kind of it gives you a baseline, like, you know,
Yeah,
even
and
a low budget.
I think even if you don't like personally like them that much, it's important in it because, like you said, it's like the foundation of what was to come after.
Definitely. I mean, especially Wu-Tang. Without these movies, Wu-Tang wouldn't exist. And everybody knows Wu-Tang is for the children, right? So what would all the kids in the world do if there was no Kung Fu movies, dude?
I noticed in my notes that near the end, when the girl like comes back into the film from the beginning and she's talking to the guy to try and convince him to fight and that, she tells him that her brother didn't actually die. And I forgot about that until I saw my notes a minute ago. So
Oh shit.
when
I must have been so wrapped up in what was going on, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, like she's like saying, "Oh, like you need to like man up and go fight." Or, like they're killing everyone and that. And then I think he says something about I can't because last time I ended up killing your brother, and she's like, "He didn't die." But you don't. I don't think it goes any deeper into it. But like I think that's kind of what gives him the confirmation to be like, all right, I'm going now. Do you know what I mean? Because he hasn't got that guilt as well.
Right, I was
Even though
trying to
he's
figure
got
out.
that, like he's still like, like I'm a bit scared of what I can do, what I'm capable of with these. But because she says that he didn't die, I think it took a lot of weight off him, and he's like, right, let's fucking go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, dude, I did want to know what it was that made the switch for him to be able to decide to fight, because I mean, he had plenty of. I mean, they killed his fucking friend. They killed his friend. They bring his body to the fucking beach, completely disrespectful. You know, just ripped the sheet off him, basically. And he's. I thought that was gonna be the moment where he was going to fight, and that was where the change was going to happen. But surprisingly, no. He, as badly as he wanted to, he didn't. And I mean, I respect the discipline of not being able to do it, but I mean, there's certain situations that I feel you can't resolve violence and not everything could be resolved with violence, but some things violence is a necessity. You don't have a choice. How often are you gonna? How many times do they gotta ask you for it for you to give it to them? Clearly, they want it.
Yeah. I mean, he ultimately he does end up going back and dealing with it, doesn't he? But I get what you're saying, because in that, like, there's a moment where he's like provoking him and that, and like you said, most people would probably act in that moment, but he sort of goes away and comes back. Whereas
I kind of wonder, did they do that to make it? Did they do that to make it more powerful when he actually does decide? Because they're like, look at everything we put this guy through, and now he finally has to. That switch gets turned, and that's it. But even what I also find, and I'm sorry, kind of dominating this whole thing here. I mean, you took the time to do notes and shit.
yeah, but
and here
the
I
thing is, like I've said, you've pretty much covered like my notes basically. I had like three. Let me just count how many pages I had. 1, 2, 3. I had just under 3.5 A4 pages of notes, and you've covered it.
Terrible. That's terrible. I do that, dude. But I mean, the good thing is though, 4 pages of notes, and being coming freshly off of you. At least we both gravitated towards the same shit, which I do find interesting. At least
It's
we're looking at
interesting with this as well, because we were saying the other day off camera how different our music taste is.
yeah.
So like, it's interesting because like seems like with the films and that, like obviously we've only done a few, but we've spoken about other ones that end martial arts and that, and seems to be on the film front we kind of agree on a lot. So the music might be quite different, but the films we have more of a kind of connection with it.
Dude, that is interesting, dude, because I wasn't sure where you were gonna land on this one. But I know we gotta get to the ratings, but before,
It still might surprise you, the ratings, but yeah, I'll let you start anyway. I'm just gonna go to the toilet quick, so I don't know if you wanna just carry on. I'll be like 2 minutes.
yeah, take your time, dude. I could do that. So I mean, I was gonna bring up the fight scene anyway, dude, between Bolo and the main character. This is rather in the fight scene is not a traditional fight. I'm actually gonna I would like to load it up. I'm not gonna play it on the channel while I'm doing this because then we'll get pulled down, and I don't want that to happen. Just because it takes us too goddamn long for us to get this thing done for me to throw it all away just to share a fight scene here. But let me mute that. I actually I'm pulling it up because I want to see how does the fight start. Because all right, now the main boss is bringing Bolo down to the pier, and he basically says like, all right, hold on, we're gonna see. Just curious how it starts because this is important. So now, say right there, this is what I find interesting is Bolo walks up, swing. The guy is not even paying attention, or so he wants. That's what he wants Bolo to think. He's staring off at the beach. He's got his shirt in his hand, just daydreaming into the distance. Not really. He peripheral vision like a motherfucker, dude. I see what you're doing. I'm waiting, right? Bolo comes up, goes to take the swing, dude ducks, and now straight to the chest. It's happening. Now, just the fact that these two dudes could not be more different in size. It literally, this movie might as well be Mike Tyson's Punch Out with our main character being Mac and Bolo. I was just saying that this film with this fight scene at the end is like Mike Tyson Punch Out, where our main character is like Mac and Bolo is Mike Tyson as far as the size differences are concerned between the two fighters. It's ridiculous. What is interesting is both of these guys seem to have the same superpower. We're not really sure how. and despite the fact that there are size differences, but you know, I just went back and I put the movie on for a moment just to see exactly how the fight started, and it was just Bolo swings, main character ducks, punches him in the chest, and now we're off to the races and the fight begins. But it's just interesting how that's where it starts, and then it literally. All right, I'm looking at it here. The fight starts at an hour, 24 minutes, and 59 seconds, and the movie ends at an hour, 34 minutes, and 56 seconds. They're not afraid to just let the fight scene just resonate a little bit, just sit there. I feel like movies today are kind of missing that. They're too afraid to rush the action. Let's get to the explosions and the sex. And some of the movies that 16 Blocks is one of my favorite movies that has ever been made. There's no sex in it at all. It is just it's story action. The story drives the action and vice versa. The way it just kind of, even though it's a little rushed, they let you ride along with the story. Whereas, today they don't do that. This is important. I guess that's where, maybe a lot of the influence, I'm sure if we went through movies that came later on, you can see the influence from a lot of these films, but whatever. I'm not a film aficionado, but you know what it is. But anyway, the fight scene, this is arguably the most important moment in the movie, because we see our main character is giving in to the instinct that he's spent the entire film to fight against. And it wasn't a bad fight either. It was a decent back and forth. There was a little bit where the power exchanged sides. It wasn't all lopsided. I do like that they let our main character get beat up a little bit. They got you scared. Like, are they going to kill this guy? I don't know, because they've already showed us they have no qualms about erasing whoever. They don't mind. I like that too. I hate that now when we watch a film, we already know the main character is going to make it no matter what. That's annoying. I want to know that at any point, somebody could just come and take this person away, and then that's it.
I just want to say something on that as well. That people might be like, "Oh, you're a bit," but I've been watching recently, and I feel it's the same with that. Like, even though it was scripted, you couldn't 100% predict who was going to win a match. No, because they'd have a picked winner. But nowadays, like, who's going to win. Do you know what I mean? Like, most of the time. But even with wrestling, like back in the day, that's what used to make it so exciting. Even though it was like, because now it's all like PG and stuff and for the kids. But back in the day, you didn't really know who was going to win or how they were going to win. Whereas nowadays, I feel like you can pretty much predict 8 or 9 out of 10 who's going to win and how they're going to win.
Definitely.
I don't watch nowadays wrestling, but before I stopped watching it a few years back, even then there was a major difference.
I mean, it is crazy. It's a shame. It's a shame they've lost confidence. I think that's what it is. It's almost like they've lost confidence in their work, which is ultimately, it affects everybody, including the two of us, down to watch time. This is the reason why everything has been boiled down to reaction videos and 2-minute clips and everything, because the movie industry has allowed people who have short attention spans that don't appreciate anything to dictate what the market looks like. And that's ridiculous, because then people like us, who I wouldn't mind sitting down for a fucking movie where you're actually going to do something legitimate. I want to see it. Take your time. Let's get there.
And you know what is as well? But I think this is a sign of me just getting old now. But I'm even more now on a nostalgia trip with everything. Like, I always want to now go back and watch things that from my childhood and that, which is why I started watching the wrestling and that, because that's what used to make me happy and that. And even watching it now, it's some of it you're like, whoa, like there were some real trash people in this even back then, but like I've enjoyed it as well at the same time, because compared to what it's like today, it's just, you can't even compare it. Like, it's so, like, It's just
Nah.
forced nowadays, but I find that not with just wrestling and that, but just a lot of things. Like I find myself even more nowadays, like on a I can't even talk on a nostalgia. Do you know what I mean? Like I do that so much more than I used to. I don't know if it's just because I'm getting old, but I think it's to do with the quality as well.
I think there's a lot to be said about that, about the quality, because it makes you almost, this is what I think it is, because you're watching something up to date and you're going, I mean, this isn't really that great. You know what? I kind of wonder how this would hold up against something that I used to love as a kid. Just out of curiosity, let's go take a look and see. And then you wind up rediscovering all this shit, or you look at it from a completely different lens and you go, you know what? Even though some of this stuff, this is kind of where the nostalgia kicks in, but even still, like, yeah, okay, I'm always gonna love it because I love it, even though how cheesy it is. But there is
Yeah.
something to be said about how they did what they wanted to do. They basically told the audience, we're taking you on a ride, and that's either you're in for the whole thing or don't even bother to show up because we're not gonna stop for you. You know. But this is the fight scene. I know we gotta
I
get.
didn't really have a lot of notes on the end fight scene because I think I was just at the time I was just focused on watching it instead of like jotting down notes for it. So hopefully you've got a bit about it because I can't really remember it now.
Well, there's not really a whole lot outside of just standard action, but they do give you a few moments where you start to wonder, is the character gonna make it? Are they gonna wind up killing this guy right here and right now? Because that is a strong possibility. But they power dynamic switches a couple of times, and ultimately our character winds up winning, but it wasn't easy, and they made him work for it. And the one part about the fight scene that bothered me, and I understand why they did it, but it fucking killed me, dude. Our main character basically has his
I
foot
can
on
just picture you before you even tell me like whatever it was. You going, "Are you fucking serious? Are you kidding me?"
like I really that's exactly what it was. Like, oh, you gotta be fucking joking me right now. Like, this is not, dude. Our main character has basically his foot on Bolo's neck, about ready to give him the end solution here, and the boss takes his cigarette and
Oh
flicks it,
yeah, I remember now you said that. Yeah.
and it hits him on his nose, and then the actor has to go, "Oh, my eyes!" Like, dude,
And that reminds me as well, he does that 2 or 3 times throughout the film, and I'm like, how did he even get good at that? Like, what you just like? How do you get accurate like that? Like, it's so unrealistic. But that's a bitch move, isn't it? That's like the equivalent of like someone spitting on you before they like fight you or something.
right? They spit in your eyes and then punch you in the face. That's dirty. What I do like though is the fact that even after that happened, Bolo, while he takes advantage of the situation and does beat our main character up a little bit, he does turn to the other guy and go, "I don't need your help."
Yeah, and he does that throughout the film in certain bits as well, doesn't he? Which is cool because, like you said, he don't really speak a lot in the film, and most of the time when he does, it's like irritation and like even though he's meant to be his boss, he's like, "Fuck off."
Like, it just goes like, I don't care. Oh, cool, you're the syndicate boss, dude. I could kill everybody here with one hand. What do you want to do? Like, I don't give a fuck, dude. But
You know as
so
well that Bolo Young, not just in this film, but I think it's because I grew up watching a lot of stuff he was in. But I don't think there's many better characters in martial arts films. Period.
I've probably now I'm sitting here trying to think about it. I've probably have seen this guy in more films than I probably even realize. Which is, I love that though. I do. I like it when you find an older movie where like a favorite actor of yours is in an older movie and you're like, oh, that's where they started. That's so cool to be able to see it.
And I was just thinking as well, like the ones that in my head of him in that I've seen, like it goes back to what we were saying earlier. Most of the films, he doesn't have a lot of lines, and that just shows how fucking good he was, though, as well.
Yeah, because there's people will make the mistake of thinking, oh, well, he's just walking around on set. He has no lines. Anybody could do that. That's it. No, dude. He is bringing a presence with him when he's walking around where he's letting the camera. I got chills on my arm just talking about it.
I don't know if it's because I was a kid at the time as well, but when I used to watch him, I had that intimidation through the fucking screen.
Yes, 100%. Well, this guy is walking around not saying 2 words. I'm like, oh, I'm nervous. I hope this guy doesn't come through the screen and fuck me up right now.
But like, I remember him in like Bloodsport as well. Just like he'll just do that, like he used to do like he used to do this thing with his eyes. He'd like turn his head slightly and be like, and like it was just spooky and like
that's what you know.
But like that just proves like you don't necessarily need flipping dialogue to be good at something. Do you know what I mean? Like that just to me that shows how good he was to have that fear for people that watched him without even having really to say anything.
Yeah. Now, see, what I like about this is that, you know, this dude, our main character does wind up winning, but it wasn't easy. I do like that our main character actually winds up killing Bolo by putting his foot on his neck and literally crushing his throat. That's how he kills him. And the boss is still there at this point, where now our main character is kind of putting his focus onto the boss. And after the fight, I think this is really the only trope that I may have noticed, which was after the fight between Bolo and the main character, all the rest of the people that work on the pier just happened to show up as the big fight was over. But that was the only thing I think that was kind of stereotypical of a movie thing to do, unless there was something that you may have noticed in the film.
Not really. I was just going to say there's a few little like what do you want to call it, like plot holes. You know what I mean? Like you just said certain things don't always add up. But yeah, I didn't really notice anything different to you. It's just the certain feelings and that like that don't really. You're like that doesn't need to be in there. Like and it could be in there, but you have to like make it make sense more.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so dude, I mean. The fight is over. Our main character wins, and what I do like is that when the people do show up, they go right to the boss rather than our main character going and killing the boss as well. The people from the pier go to the boss. It's the what do we do with the piece of shit line I mentioned earlier. And then the boss is like, oh, no, please, I'll never come back again. And then they're like, oh, yeah, that's cute that you think we're going to let you off the hook now. But you killed our fucking friend, remember? And now you get to go out the same way. Now, I don't think that they show it. I don't think they show the boss getting beat to death. But it's implied.
Yeah.
I do like that they didn't feel,
sometimes it's more powerful like that as well, isn't it? Because
yes,
you've only got your imagination, like
100%, because it also it works. It works with all kinds of movies. You could do that with a mystery. You could do it, pretty much anything. But you do have to be careful with where you do it and how you do it, because I can't stand open-ended movies that never get resolved. I understand maybe you think you're gonna get greenlit for a part 2 or whatever, but I mean, come on, man. Don't leave me hanging. I've invested 2 hours in this goddamn thing. I want to know how it is.
I do agree with you, because there's certain films, I can't remember any off the top of my head, but I've watched, and then there's no ending to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's meant to be an ending, and then you just see like the credits come down, and you're like, what?
Yeah, like that's it. Like, what? Then you're pissed. Like, dude, I've wasted my whole time on
Especially
this.
when they don't follow it up with a second one.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, all right, can you at least put out a YouTube video or something and you explain what the hell happened in the movie?
So should we get into the ratings for it?
Yeah, I think so.
I might surprise you, but originally I was going to give it. So basically, for people that haven't seen this before, we have a rating system out of 10, and average is 5. So anything below 5 is going to be less than average, and anything above would be more. Originally I was going to give it 5, but certain things, because we talk about it, reminded me of certain things in it. I'm going to give it a 6, which is still low. I don't know what you might be surprised by that, but I think there's good bits in it. But I think the main problem is for me is the setting of the pier and that, and the lack of locations in it. I think with some films it can work, but I don't know, something just about them being at a pier and stuff. I just found it very boring.
Cheap.
Yeah, and like I don't know, like I think it's important because it's like we said earlier, like you can't have the films after this. Like this is like a foundation of, so it is there. Like you got to give it respect. But I just found it quite boring, to be honest. I liked that Bolo Young, and I quite like the main character in it. But like the dubbing again and the sound effects, along with the setting and that, it didn't really grab my attention. Like I watched it, but I didn't watch it all the way through in one go. Like I'd pause it and go and do something, come back and watch like another bit. Do you know what I mean? So it didn't
That's
keep me
what I
glued
was
to my
doing.
seat. So I'm gonna give it a 6. It's a bit low, but I can't give it any higher because I just found it a little bit too bland.
See, with this one, I think maybe of a 2 rating system where we have the 1 through 10 for the overall movie, but for ones that are low rated like this, because I would give it a 5 as well. The only thing that even gets it to there for me is the lack of fear to have those fight scenes and to be able to do what they did with the characters. But there is
Well,
shit
I'm
that I
glad that we're not too different on the ratings because I thought you was gonna maybe be like an 8 or a 9, and then I'd be like, now I feel like I've shitted on it.
Well, see, I thought actually it was gonna be the opposite. I figured I was gonna give it a low rating. You were gonna be like, "Yeah, it was great," and I'd be like, "Oh, well, what do you?" But of course, I'm the ignorant one. I figured that was the wave I was gonna have to ride when I came in here, but I'm surprised you're like, no.
As how we've been talking about it as well, like it's like then in my head I'm like, well, we seem to be enjoying this quite a lot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How we're remembering it, but then I'm like, yeah.
The
but
problem is the conversation about the movie is more fun than watching the goddamn thing. That
100%.
seems to be the problem. But this is a movie where, okay, if I were to the fight scenes, excluding the horrific sound effects, I would give the fight scenes like a 7 or an 8, just
I was
because.
gonna say a minimum of 7, a minimum. So
Yeah, just because of the fact that they weren't afraid to do it. Now, I mean, we could break this whole thing down, like fight scenes, character development, writing, all the locations. So, I mean, I know that would make it a lot more difficult and it would drag it out a little bit, but I mean, they get a big fat goose egg for location. As far as we're both concerned, I understand low budget, but if you're gonna have, I mean, I don't know, maybe the whole
one
point.
thing I would say about it is I've never seen that done in a film before in terms of that location, but it still didn't work. Regardless of that, I just found it really boring.
Right, like I don't know where they should have been, and I understand why the pier was an important part of the film because that's where all the characters meet. But at the same time, who the fuck is gonna hang out where they work all day? That don't even make sense. Like we don't get to see where any of the other characters live. Like
And
it's
even with the village bit, you get the sense of just the scenery from outside. It's not far from the pier. Do you know what I mean?
Right. So it's like everything is, and I know that there are places like that. Like Alaska, I think is known notoriously for dock working, and basically you're close to living on site. So I understand some places are like that, but just even the fact that they never went into character development of any kind, really, with any of the characters, other than I fought, I've killed, I fight no more, now I fight again. End of the fucking film. That's about it. That's what happened. Where I would like to know who are some of these people. I mean, maybe that's because we're spoiled and we
Well, I was going to say, I think maybe I could be way off on this, but culturally, I think it makes more sense to them because I think I could be wrong, but that like fishing and that over there is quite like a popular thing, and a lot of their work comes like they have got. I don't know about nowadays, but certainly in them days, that was probably a lot of work, like in reality for them as well, like working on the docks or a pier, and because a lot of their business comes through like fish and stuff. So maybe for them, they love that because it's more close to home. But I don't know, maybe that's where it gets lost a bit with us because we're from a different culture. But
Mhm.
I just can't. It just wasn't exciting to me.
I mean, I guess the equivalent for us would be if the entire movie was basically filmed in a dojo.
Yeah, like Karate Kid vibes.
Yeah, which I mean,
Yeah.
even that, like you get it, they're kids, and that's where basically majority of the story takes place. But can we not act like this is the only thing that exists in this universe? I feel like we left a lot on the table. Again, older film, maybe that's why some of this
And
character development. Good.
when people remember certain films and scenes from films, they'd be like, "Oh, this bit happens in like an arcade, and then that bit happens like at their house." With this one, if you say something to someone about several scenes, they'd be like, "Where did that one happen?" You'd be like, "That one's at the pier as well." Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous.
Like, how do you know? The fucked up part is if you leave the movie, like I'll leave the movie on, I get up, I go to the bathroom, I come back, I look, I feel like I paused the goddamn thing. Nothing has changed. I don't know where I am. It's fine. The only reason why I know things are happening is because 1 minute there was not a fight and now there is. Something must have happened. What happened? I gotta rewind it. But I must have tried to watch this movie fucking 10 times until I
It
finally.
wasn't easy. Like, it's not even that long in the sense of if you watch something else, some films you'll watch it at the same length and they
Uh,
fly by. But
I
with
got
this,
I go for last night I was watching it. I go, okay, there's no way. I have to be at least halfway through this film right now. I go and look at the time code. I'm only 40 minutes in. I was like, oh, the killer. Oh, the killer.
so I don't know if you want to like. We probably discuss it off camera as well, but we need to think of something to do next as well. Maybe we could do the one you mentioned earlier, or I don't know.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I mean, dude, it sucks that it's not dubbed in English, but I mean the immediately grabbed my attention. Like, I don't have no idea what the movie's about. I haven't looked into it. I have no idea who plays in it. I know nothing. Movie opens up to bugs crawling around, which already they're making it uncomfortable. The sound effects, the whole thing. The computer graphics are great, but apparently this movie is based around some type of sorcery or witchcraft because the film opens up where there's two people that are trying to steal treasures, and then I guess the witches that live in the woods, whatever it is, they go and take revenge. That's as far as I've gotten, but it's I'm actually gonna pull it up and grab the link. But this has been if the beginning if the beginning of this movie is any indication of whether it's going to be good or not, I would definitely be for.
I don't like the only thing I would say is because it's not got any subs on it, like are we going to be able to talk about it enough? Do you know what I mean? Because if we
Well, no, it has
understand-
English subtitles, but it doesn't have. It's not dubbed in English.
Oh right, okay.
So I mean, but this is I put it over in the chat, but I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you off here as well, just to make sure you have it. I mean, we could do that. I know we were looking to do Rumble in the Bronx eventually.
I still can't find a link for it.
Yeah,
might
that
be able
one's
to
gonna be
download
more
it as well.
difficult. If I can, if I can manage to find a copy of it somewhere, I can share it with you. I'll see where if I can manage to find it. Because if it's on fucking Hulu or some shit, then we could do it. But I mean, there's this one. It doesn't necessarily have to be this one. We might be able to do something else. But I thought it would be good to go from something old to something that's a little bit more updated. Although I'm not
When
sure.
was this one made? Do you know?
That's a good question. Actually, I'm gonna pull up.
This one we've done today was 1973.
Oh shit! Was it?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I made a note of it earlier. I had to look it up because I just wanted to just let people know. I should have said it at the beginning, but yeah, it was 1973. Also as well, it might be. We've said it before, but I just want to let people know if you're watching, like, if you've got anything. Obviously, we have to try and find films that we've both got access to because we haven't always got links to them and that. But if you want to put your suggestions when you watch the video as well, and if we can both find copies of them to watch, then obviously we might have a few to watch. But if you want to put any suggestions in there, we'll try to get around to them.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out. Let me share the screen so you can see it. I'm terrible with Google searches, dude. I have no idea how to find things. So I just took the name of the movie, and I guess I would put in like IMDb or something.
Well, yeah, I just typed in for this one earlier. I just typed in the title of the film, and then when it come up, I think the IMDb thing was the first thing anyway that like it found. But yeah, you could type it in there if it's not come up.
Just so we could try to figure out where did this come from. Wu-Tang Collection.
Yeah, if you click on it, I think it just said 1983 underneath that link. So this is like 10 years after the one we watched. If you look under, oh no, that's something else. Sorry.
Yeah. So hold on. Let's see. I'm gonna try to do. I'm gonna look up just this. Put what? That's no way. It's 2020.
That's well, most likely a remake, isn't it?
It has to be. So let's see here. Come on, man. So, all right. Nope. You got to put in the Wu-Tang Collection. Yeah, no, you're right. 1986, I think. Wu-Tang Temple, Wu-Tang Collection, retitled VHS edition of Young Taoist Fighter, late entry in 1986 in the group Taoist magic and kung fu movies, mixed in special effects and slapstick that were made by famed Yun Clan and included miracle fighters, Shaolin Dunkard, aka Wu Tang Master, and Taoism and all that. So maybe it was, but no, the graphics in this are way too good for it to be made back in the 80s. Hey, what's up, dude? Shit, I'm not sure. I gotta try to. It's too bad I don't know who actually. Maybe I can look up the director and see if we can find. Because there it is right there. I mean, it does look good enough to be made this year. maybe because it's an international thing.
It's up to you. If we can both find a link, like if I should be able to get the same link if that's there, like it's up to you. I can't remember any of the ones we've said in the past. Maybe, I think we said we'd maybe do Karate Kid, Rumble in the Bronx. There is, I think it's number 3 or something. I found one of the 3 Ninja films on Netflix that I've actually put
Oh
on my
shit!
watch, but I haven't watched it because I've been saving it in case we decide to do it. But I think it's number 3, so yeah, I might have to watch the other 2 first anyway. But
Definitely. Damn. I
but
mean,
I'll tell you what I'd love to do. Like it's up to you, but it's one of my favorites is Bloodsport. I think that'd be cool to just revisit it and do.
Bloodsport. I know I haven't seen that one in a long time.
I've got that on Netflix as well, ready to go. So
All right, we could do that one next. I mean, that would be a little bit easier. It's in English. It's still in the wheelhouse of what we're doing.
yeah.
So, I mean, that.
I don't mind, man. Like I'll let you choose if you like. I like doing these, innit? And it's been a long time since we did the first one, so I'm just happy that we got another one done today. Because
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like it's just like I look forward to doing them. And then last night I've been watching Cobra Kai, which is the follow-on from the Karate Kid. It's like a series they've got. So I've been watching that, and I watched one episode of them last night, and within mind knowing that we were going to do this today, and it just like it was like a little warm-up. Do you know what I mean? And it gets me puts me back in the mood to like, yeah, like because it's that nostalgia thing as well. Again, it comes back to the nostalgia of a lot of. I mean, this one we watched. I never seen it before, but like Bloodsport and like Rumble in the Bronx and that. When we start to do them sort of ones, I think we'll enjoy it even more because we remember more things of when we were younger and that when we first saw it. So
Definitely. I mean, I know I'm not I'm not against doing Bloodsport as the next one, but I do almost just a curiosity. I do kind of want to watch I'm going to watch a little bit of the one that I found today just because I want to see where is it going to go? Kind of curious. And then later on if we decide that we're going to shit, can I translate this? Yeah. Hold on. It's me again. Hey, what's going on, dude? I didn't notice that you were in the chat. I'm sorry, I didn't see you. That's somebody from Russia, one of our Russian friends that checks in on the show. But yeah, you know what, dude? I think plus you said it's on Netflix, right?
yeah.
So I mean,
So I've got I found Bloodsport on there. I think Karate Kid's on there. One of the 3 ninjas is on there. I think it's number 3. There is I think there's more on there, but yeah. So if you just look on, if you've got Netflix, just have a look on there. There's probably a ton on there, to be honest.
yeah. I mean, definitely there has to be. I mean, I like doing these too, just because it would have me watch movies that I would never have watched on my own, because I feel like I kind of missed that. I missed the whole kung fu thing. Like, don't get me wrong. I know Jackie Chan and Jet Li, and well, to an extension, like Jason Statham. Those are the people that I know who do kung fu shit, or martial arts, whatever it is. So to be able to go back and see older films, or even Jean-Claude Van Damme or Antonio Banderas, I think was another really big one. Who were those guys fucking ran shit for years. And I mean, you even see the influence in movies like From Dusk Till Dawn. Even though that's not a martial arts movie, you can definitely see the influence from martial arts movies in a film like that, which is part of the reason why it's so fun to do this, just because now from watching the older ones, I can, in my head, I go through the Rolodex of movies that I've seen, and I'm like, oh shit, they kind of took from there and they used that for this. So
the same with music as well, isn't it? It's just in film format, like
yeah.
And I think as well, what's good is you'll see certain ones like this which you understand their importance, but then you'll see something like Bloodsport or whatever, and you appreciate them ones even more because you see how far they've come from them first films as well.
Or even like the one with Jet Li, just because of all the shit that went into that. I mean,
I've actually got that on DVD somewhere. I haven't watched it for years, but I actually have got that on DVD.
Yeah, I borrowed it from a friend of mine a long time ago. I watched it. I was just blown away. I was like, damn, I can't believe I never heard of this. I mean, he had so many films that just went under the radar, but I mean, these guys became household names, even though like everybody knows who they are. You don't even, like if I probably said, I could bet money right now I can call Jen's 15-year-old little brother and bring up Jackie Chan. He know exactly who I'm talking about. Probably never seen a Jackie Chan movie in his life, but that's how powerful these things are. That's why it's so important, because we do all influence each other in one way or another, especially in the realm of entertainment.
Do you know what I love about martial arts as well, that I kind of lost for a while because I hadn't really been watching none of it? But when we started to revisit it, it reminds me of like the morals and the messages in a lot of the films, because the main characters usually learn it and do it because they're either getting bullied or for self-defense, and but just something as simple as that, because you could, even though there's violence in it, you could sit down and watch that with your kids at some point, and they're asked questions about why is he doing this, why is he doing that, and you can explain to them that because he's learning these things to prevent getting in trouble with people. But if he can't get out of situations and that, like, it teaches you to defend yourself. But the first message usually is to try and avoid it at all costs, and I like that a lot about martial arts films.
It's not like a Punisher film where this guy is grabbing a fucking automatic, like some terrible shit happens, and now I have a gun and I'm going to mow everybody down to get revenge. Where these things are, it is interesting, like you said, even though there is violence in it, you could sit and watch it with your kids, which is good. And I mean, I kind of feel like this should be a requirement. Maybe they should play some of these movies in school, since we're talking about like out here, schools everywhere have now a zero tolerance when it comes to bullying, which basically means you can beat up whoever the fuck you want as long as you don't get caught. Essentially, is how it works out here, which is a goddamn shame. But I mean, I think kids would be more comfortable if they could see that, you know, I can learn this shit, and it doesn't mean that I have to always use it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I can just have it in my back pocket if I need it. But that's the important part of it, is because most kids are going to want to abuse this power, to be able to teach them that you can't do that. But then that also comes down to, you have to figure out what type of kid are you
I think,
dealing.
yeah, like, I think you could watch it with your kid and then not necessarily understand what you're trying to teach them. But if they remember that memory of just watching a film with you, when, like, say you die or something, and they're remembering times with you, and they remember watching a film with you, they remember what that film was, and they go and revisit it and watch it, and they have memories of you. But then they'll start to see things in the film that they didn't really understand as a kid, that th'll now understand, because they're like,
Yeah.
that's why he did that. That's why. And I think so. I think some kids will pick it up, but when they get older, I think a lot of them will revisit it and be like, this is actually teaching me stuff about life.
Yeah, dude, I've done that with so many things that I watched as a kid, that I go back and revisit now and be like, oh shit, I didn't even realize like how heavy this was. One of the big ones was 6 Feet Under. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
I've heard of it, but I don't think I've ever seen it.
It was a show. You've heard of Dexter?
Yeah.
Okay, the guy that plays Dexter is in this show, and couple other people I think that are a big deal. I don't know their fucking names, but basically this show 6 Feet Under is about a family who owns a funeral home, and they're all morticians, and it's a father, his two sons, and his daughter, and they go through the whole thing. What I love about this show, dude, is that it shows you the monotony of their work. Like when they're showing up and they're draining a body, like they're literally complaining about their day and shit while they're doing this. Whereas we're watching this completely horrified, but this is this guy's everyday life where he can eat a sandwich and just sew somebody's mouth fucking shut. Like I love that they're able to change the perspective and be able to do that. I think these movies do that as well, though. It's in a completely different way. I like the fact that they are on YouTube, some of them, and you can watch it. I know 6 Feet Under really doesn't have a whole lot to do with what we were talking about, but just the idea of it's a similar thing, you know, where I didn't get it. There was one scene actually that sticks out in my mind where they were in, the two characters are in a living room, and one, I remember this shit from being a kid. This lady is sitting in a chair, and I used to go to my dad's house for visitation. This motherfucker, that it's a whole thing. Anyway, this guy is watching HBO, right? And I'm kind of like sneaking behind him just to get a look at what's going on the television because I know I'm not supposed to be watching it, which means obviously it's the first thing I'm gonna want to do. So this dude is going down on this chick in this fucking show. I was like, oh, fuck, what's happening? I don't understand what's going on, but whatever it is, I know that it's serious. And of course, now he happens to just look over and he sees me and he's like, fuck are you doing out here? And I'm like, I'm caught. He's like, this shit is not for you. You don't know what's going on. I'm like, yeah, I do. He's like, yeah, explain it to me. I'm like, I know, it's not gonna fucking tell you nothing. Fucking walk away, dude. Like, I know it has really nothing to do with what we were talking about, but just the idea of, shit like that sticks with you. And I, just once in a while, that memory will pop up in my head, and I did go back and I watched it, and that show is a fucking tough one to get through, dude. I mean, it is not shy about being heavy. Just, ugh.
I think the thing that I hope that people might get from this as well is like someone might watch this and this might be their favorite film. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially if they're heavily into martial arts or something. This might be their one of their favorites. And like, even though it's not really ours in terms of what we rated it and that, they might come across this and be like, oh, I love this because they're talking about like they have the nostalgia and that. So I think that's cool because what I was going to say as well, you probably won't get a lot of people nowadays that will go and give these sort of films a chance. Do you know what I mean? Because they, like me and you said, we both found it a bit of a challenge to just fucking get through it. But
yeah,
so I just think a lot of people won't do that anyway. But if they don't, they won't always have an understanding of like more of the history, like we were saying, of like where it kind of originated from, and do you know what I mean? So
yeah, because that's important. Like I understand if you're watching this, if you've made it this far, first of all.
Yeah, nearly 2 hours.
Yeah, the reason why also is because we didn't come out of the gate and blow this movie with intensity. People are gonna be upset, but you have to understand this is not a reaction show. This is a review show, and we're going to be. Everything that I've done on this channel is based out of. There's no reason for me to make up an opinion and pretend that I like something when I don't. We review films, so even though this is not by any stretch of the imagination a top film for either of us, we do recognize the importance of the influence on the culture. So while you can hate both of us for not absolutely loving the same thing that you do, we do acknowledge the importance of these films, and you have to at least respect that. You don't have to love it. You don't have to put this show on your playlist or whatever. And by the way, that's a good idea. I'm going to make a playlist for this show, and I need to come up with a thumbnail for this. This was a little bit difficult to try to think. I didn't
think of a thumbnail, to be honest. So yeah.
I mean, I've thought about for a moment, like having us take some really wild looking pictures going off of the movie covers, and I could try to crop them together and make a thumbnail out of that. I thought that would be cool, but I don't know. I don't know how I would. I don't know how I would do it.
Do you know what I think might be an idea? Even though don't necessarily see eye to eye with him, but maybe get Demos to do like an animation of even of us two, or I don't know. That's just come into my head as we're talking, so that might be an option.
Oh, could you? I can't even imagine the shit that must be thinking about, bro. He's like, he's gonna come up with just use. Oh yeah, that's a good point too. Just use the movie poster.
Yeah, I had that idea originally, but like just because you've said it now, like I don't know, maybe it will be better to, I don't know, something to think about.
Dude, I say we go with that, man. We pick a picture. Pick a picture. Here, you know what? Let's fucking. Oh wait, I'm sharing a screen. I don't even have a tab open for. All right, hold on. Let's see.
Did you get your money sorted in the end or not?
Nope. Still no money. Absolutely broke.
Did you get back in contact with them, or are they just ignoring you?
I did. They did contact me yesterday. DoorDash did, and said that originally the day before they said they were gonna fucking refund me, and then they sent me an email yesterday saying we can't find the charges. Sorry. Oh, you can't. Oh, you can't. Check this out, dude. You can't find the charges. Like I ought to find where you live and stick this phone in your fucking face. That's what I should do.
Do you know what? People like that though that are in them jobs are so stupid because, like you could show them that on camera or whatever, or send them a screenshot or something, and they'll still send back something like, "Oh, sorry, sir. Like we still don't have it on our end, so we can't help you." Like, what are you in a job for? Like when you've got proof of something, like, do you know what I mean? Do your job.
Yeah, like it's not like the money's got to come out of your fucking pocket. What do you care?
Yeah.
But they don't. I don't get it, man. I mean, I did. I sent them another email back going, look, man, here's all of the screenshots. This is proof. I don't even have a fucking DoorDash account. Never had one. So if I can't get my money back, I can't imagine what would happen to somebody who actually does have a goddamn account. But supposedly called them yesterday, and they said on the phone that their end of it is done, that they're waiting on Cash App to basically do the second half of the refund, which is going to take 5 to 7 days. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That brings me to yesterday. That would bring us to the 28th. That's 3 days away from me getting fucking paid. If I even do wind up getting this money back. But I mean, it's insanity. So to anybody who will be listening to this in the future, don't use the Cash App. Go get Venmo, I think it's called. My friend told me about it. Yeah, Venmo. It's basically the same, except I think it's a little bit more secure. They do have features, and again, this is not an ad read for any of these people, but just looking through the app, if you lose your Venmo card, you could press a button on your phone that turns it off, where nobody could use it. And then if you find your card, like I famously do, I'll lose my debit card for a week, find it in the house somewhere. Of course, now I gotta wait 2 weeks for the new one to come in. You don't have to do that with this one. You press a button, your card's right back on. So that's pretty
cool.
cool.
Quite recently, I lost my bank card, and I ordered another one. The other one came, and then I found the other one. I left it in one of my pockets in my trousers and put them in the wash and stuff. And do you know what I mean? And then fucking found them after the new card had come. So I was just like, oh my god.
It's a fucking annoying, dude. It really, I hate that shit. I mean, my keys are gone completely, 100%. Don't know where they went. Somebody robbed them. Had to have. I only put my shit in certain places, and I can't find it anywhere. Ridiculous, but I mean, whatever, dude. Well, I don't know what they think they're gonna get by breaking in here, and
at least the positive to take from it is that you know not to like use these guys anymore anyway. So I know you've
Yeah, I
lost
was
money,
gonna say,
you might get it
don't.
back, but at least you've had like you've got a lesson from it basically, and yeah, it's just that's the positive from it.
It's a tough one to learn, especially because this was all of the fucking money that I had that was not even mine to begin with. Here, the fucked up part of the whole situation is we're usually in a bad shape anyways. Just how we've grown up and we've learned to cope with just being poor. Some days you don't eat, some days you do. It's what it is. And when you say that out loud and horrified, but they all really know what goes on over here. They just like to pretend that they don't. So but it is what it is. But besides the point, I'm plugging these t-shirts and shit, and I guess a friend of mine was able to fucking read between the lines, essentially. Doesn't message me, doesn't say a fucking word, just sends over $100 out of nowhere. And I'm like, dude, like, but I can't even fucking hand, like, that's a lot of money, dude. I don't care who you are, I don't care how much money you make. $100 is a lot of money. That is a month changer for a lot of people, right? So I mean, just off of that alone, and now he's like, dude, here, go fill your fridge, whatever you got to do. I'm like, dude, goddamn. Within an hour of that money being in my fucking Cash App, it gets hacked and robbed. Gone. So now here we are, all this time left in the month, no food in the fridge or the freezer. Now Jen's gotta go fucking crawl to her mom and basically be like, can you help us? Even though you're gonna completely throw it in our face every chance that you get, and we watch your fucking kids for free whenever. So like just abuse of power all around. And then when she does something for you, she wants to make sure that you know how much of an asshole you are for asking her to fucking do it. And it's not just her. My mom does it too. They all fucking do it. But it's funny how they don't have a problem when they're asking you for a favor, but you ask them to do some shit, and it's like pulling fucking teeth. It's ridiculous. But is what it is. Doesn't matter. I've learned a valuable lesson out of all this shit, which is don't use the fucking Cash App. I mean, I literally only have it just so that if this fucking thing gets resolved, I can get the money put back in it, and that's it. I'm not gonna use it anymore. I don't know how it is that they got it. I was promoting it with the t-shirts and all that shit. Maybe putting the cash tag out there wasn't the way to go about doing it. I'm not sure, but either way, I got robbed. Basically, don't use when you use apps like this is what could happen. And I was stupid, and I thought that they had security protocols in place. Clearly they do not. You can't even reach a human being. You can't do it. It can't be done. You can't, there's nobody to email. And if you try to go to their parent company Square, they don't even have an option for you to fucking file a complaint. You have to just be able to start a business.
What? Your DoorDash?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
And also, you can't even do the cybercrime or go through the FBI one. Because they want money for you to, have a crime.
It's ridiculous. But I mean, whatever. We're almost there. It's the 22nd. We have 9 days. Counting the day we get paid, we have 9 more days, and then we're back to, not. The good thing is at least we have some. I mean, I don't even know. The shit that she got us is supposed to last. There's no fucking way. It's no way it's happening. But I mean, whatever. We're gonna do what we have to do. Oh, this is not about that. This is not about that anyway. So you know.
Although we kind of went off on one a bit, didn't we? Like we went down a whole different road.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, we got two. You got like an hour and 50 minutes on a damn movie. I'd say that's pretty good, even though we're all over the damn place. I mean, I think we could do Bloodsport next. That wouldn't be
I
a
mean,
bad idea.
we can sort it like off cam if you want. It just there might be a few to pick from. So, yeah, I don't really mind, to be honest, as long as we can both get links to whatever it is. And well, I think we should try and aim to do it within the next couple of weeks if you can.
Yeah, well, the problem is when we set this one up, everything just fucking kept happening. There was supposed to be a building inspection.
Yeah, we had that, and then we had the thing that what we were saying earlier on in the podcast with the whole wrestling stuff going on, and what happened when we was meant to do it before. Do you know what I mean? Like, and obviously we didn't speak in that for a bit, but so yeah, hopefully this time we'll get it done without as many hurdles.
Yo. Come on. There's only so much you can ask me to fucking hear. 15 years. Some information is too much information. That's all I'm trying to say. I eat running around.
I don't know what's going on because you're breaking up a bit and you're going in and off the mic. I'm like, what's happening?
Women are fucking gross. Women are gross. That's what happened. She just gave me some information that that's information for your fucking mom. That's what that is. You don't bring that in here. I don't need all that in my life. Fucking ugh. Anyway, fucking Alfred Hitchcock behind me over here just painting fucking horror stories.
So yeah, last time, there was a ton of hurdles, wasn't it, in sense of everything going on. So hopefully next time we can get something done again. Obviously, people probably don't know everything that was going on, but like.
Well, I was gonna open with it, but I figured just get to the fucking meat of the movie and get it over with. But for the people that don't know, here's what basically happened: is I was supposed to do this a while ago. Supposed to watch this fucking movie, and shit just kept on happening. And then we've had a few conversations that built up to this where there clearly was a miscommunication where I thought we agreed at one point to watch the movie on a live stream. Really what that was is he was saying we'll do the review on a live stream. So we misunderstand each other. I come in here to do the fucking thing, and he's like, well, if you haven't watched it, then the whole thing is fucked then, right? So now, just from that alone, that I take it is, oh, great. So yet again, you fuck me, you fucking asshole. That's where I think he's coming from. Even though he's not, that's where I think this is. And now me, being the fucking psychopath that I am, I'm like, well, I'm not going to fucking just let that go. Like, fuck you, dude. I got a lot of shit going on over here. I got a lot of things going on here. It's all bad. So you know what? Fuck it. I'm, whatever. So of course I fly off the handle in typical fashion like I do. Yeah, everybody that knows me knows that, dude.
I'm
like,
telling him to calm down. Maybe it's not like that.
yeah, it's not like that. And in my head, I'm going, no, it's absolutely what it's like. Don't tell me what it is. I know what it is.
I was trying to like put out a volcano, and I had like a water pistol. That's what it felt like. Yeah. Because I was trying to like talk to you after you'd blown up, and you was just gone, and I was like,
forget it's over. Forget it.
Talk to him, like.
Wilson, he's gone, dude. Forget it. Like, I hate that. I do that, but
We have no control.
Yeah, I lose control. That's what it is. I lose control. That's exactly what it is. I'm weak for that reason. However, I will say in my fucking defense, Your Honor, that not only I own my shit, and I fucking wrote this kid a goddamn novel, and I basically said, like, look, man, I have issues. People say things to me, and I read them in a completely different tone than the way that they're meant to be read. And I've done this a million times. I'm gonna do it I can't tell you how many people have commented nice things that I've taken in a bad way and reacted wrong, and they're just like,
or even
all right,
person,
what,
Kevin.
like,
I could say something, and you'd be like, "Fuck you."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I think that what I've took from it as well is that even if I say something in the future, say if like it doesn't even get to that level, like if you get upset by it, I'll be like, okay, I understand. This is him. Like he needs to do this to get it out and get it off his chest. Where when it was happening, I was like, oh fuck, no, like this has ruined everything in terms of what we were planning and stuff.
Right, like you think it's the end.
Yeah, and because of how how much he was going off, I was like, fuck. Like, but like now, like since we sorted it and that, like if something ever does happen again, I'll be like, I just gotta let him do this for a bit, and I'll talk to him like in a few days or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Whereas
like I know that
the first time I was like,
that's but I mean, 'cause you're not wrong. You're not wrong to be like, oh, this is bad. Like this is how everything ends. There's no way that anything is gonna survive after this. But I mean, unfortunately, that's the I have to fucking not allow it to go that far. But sometimes it's already gone. And there were so many other outside factors that contributed to it that basically was just the little tiny push that it needed. And you got all of that, everything else that was going on just completely misdirect. I mean, I did him like they did fucking Michael's brother and the Godfather at the toll booth for no reason at all whatsoever, just because of everybody else. But I mean,
that
look,
was a good like learning experience for me as well, because like I said, I know now, like if you go off on one, I'll just be like he needs to do this. Do you know what I mean? And that's not even a bad like that's just me learning, or both learning who we are like to each other.
Yeah.
And because it's the first time anything like that happened, I wasn't sure. I was like, what? Like all this time, like not just the martial arts stuff, but the other videos now we've done. I was like, so like that's gone now. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, fuck. Like I can't. And because you was going off so much, I was like, I can't even reason or like explain to him, because it was like you put like ear muffles on or something. Do you know what I mean? Because I was like, dude, like I'm trying to like privately do it, but because you were so far gone, I was like, fuck. And then I thought like, well, that's it then. Like it's all just gone. So it's a bit crazy, but it was a good learning experience, because now, like as I said, if something happens, I'll know that I just got to leave you for a bit if you feel it's at that level, and then I'll speak to you at another point, instead of being like, again.
Yeah, no, I did. I mean, I did. Usually, what happens is I wind up blowing up like that at somebody, and then just immediately fucking feel like a piece of shit. But I was like, you know what, dude? Like, this is I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed by that part of who I am, because that doesn't feel. I don't feel like that's me. I feel like the person that's sitting here right now and is talking like this is who I am. I don't know who that other person is, but I feel like one just kind of gets pushed up. But this is probably from fucking years of abuse and neglect and trust issues and all that. It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse, and I'm 36 years old, and I should have a fucking better handle on my temper and my mental issues. But the reality is that I could sit here and I could give you a perfectly logical reason why I don't, but the fact is that I just need to get it under control, and that's what it is. Now I'm embarrassed by it. However, I have to own it. It's part of who I am. I'm not proud of it, but if I can't a little while removed from that moment, if I can't look at that moment and go, here's where you were right, here's where you were wrong, and you should not. It's not okay for you to that that hard on something that's so small, regardless of whatever the outside factors are. But I have to be able to. I have to be able to look at that and really be honest with myself, because at the end of the day, I can lie to every single one of you and make up all the reasons and excuses in the world that I want. But the bottom line is that it's an issue, and that's why I actually said the things to you that I did, because it's a lot. The fact that she's even stuck through it for as long as she has is more than anybody could fucking ask for. If she walked out the door tomorrow, I can honestly say I understand. To quote a Twisted song that nobody is going to know, there's a song there's a song called The Argument, where it's basically breaking down relationships and shit like that, where the dude is talking about going through a breakup, and one of the lines in the song is, where he's talking to his daughter, and he said, I never meant for mom to leave us like she did, but I really can't blame her because I know that I'm a dick. Like, that's just even how basic that is, dude. That's really like, if she leaves tomorrow, dude. Like, I mean, I get it. It wasn't easy. It's not like there's no reason. So, you know what I mean? But it's the same thing. Every person in my life has had to or continues to deal with it. It's not fair to any of them, or to you, or to the people who watch the videos. But if I may, I also don't think it would be fair to you to hide that part of my personality, because it's flawed and it needs work. And I think that it's important for other people out on the internet, wherever. Like, I know anybody can bring that. I know it's true. I have to hope that nobody dies anywhere close to me, because I would be immediately the first murder suspect, just because of my temper. That's unfortunate, but if she dies anywhere in this house, it better be in a shower with a bar of soap under her foot, and I can't be here because they'll automatically think I did it. But I leave it up on the internet so that, most of the time, so that the people who are out there can know that it doesn't matter how old.
Take a look back at it soon, because even though it seemed bad at the time it was happening, like, now when I think of it, it's funny, isn't it? Like, I know it sounds bad, but it's funny. Like, if we were to both go back and watch that now, we'd both probably be crying with laughter. Like, and just the way you was like saying certain things, like, it made it even better that I'm from over here, because you were saying things like, this fucking British or UK guy you was going. and then you're like, about the whole, like, I'll pay for your plane ticket, motherfucker.
That was ridiculous. That's just, see, but the problem is that's where a lot of the fucking, I think that's where a lot of the comedy the sense of humor that I have comes from that. If I didn't get that angry like that when I laughed at that, I was supposed to cut that out, because that was an outtake. I made myself laugh genuinely that hard at the ridiculousness of saying something that outrageous and meaning it in the moment of anger. But to be able to go like, dude, that's fucking. If you can't listen to yourself say that and go, all right, what are we doing? Come on now, really?
What made it was like, because when it was happening, you're doing it, and I'm obviously watching you live, and you're going off the handle, and I was trying to talk to you, and I was obviously a little bit annoyed because we hadn't done the show or whatever, but I really wasn't angry. I was just a bit annoyed. But because she was going so far off, it was like you have to kind of laugh.
Like,
because
okay,
it's
you want to
so
go,
great.
motherfucker?
Yeah, because of the ridiculousness of it, of the level it got to. I'm watching it thinking,
Mhm.
I'm not even. I was thinking he's probably thinking I'm feeling as mad as he is right now, and I wasn't. But because you was that far
Yeah.
gone, I was watching it like I said earlier. I was like, oh, I hope this isn't it now. I hope I get to like sort it with him. But I was also kind of laughing a little bit as well because I was like, this is mental.
Yeah, no, it is. Like, dude, I'm gonna read what I wrote to you just so that the people will see what is really going on. Because I mean, in fairness to you, you did reach out and was like, so what's going on? What are we doing? Like, are we doing this or no? Basically, like, you know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, yep, I got it, and I agree with you. So then I decided to actually, I sat and I thought for a few minutes, and I really was like, all right, dude, you have to really put if this is your one chance for an explanation, you better fucking just put it all out there, and whatever it is, but at least you can say that you're not coming in here with excuses. That's not what it is. But I said to basically that I agree with you. We both could have handled it differently. I do have the tendency to rant about shit often, and I deal with this in my relationship. I have a lot of misplaced anger. Wasn't a personal shot at you, just an overall generalized point, which goes back to the live, not live, where all this started, where I basically said, like, I didn't have the time to sit down and watch a stupid fucking movie and had nothing to do with the movie. I was aggravated for all these outside things, but in my fucking idiotic brain, I didn't go, maybe you should explain that part, right? Like, nowhere in my common sense world did it even occur to me, like, maybe somebody could see this and take it completely the wrong way. It didn't even occur to me. I don't know why. I just assume that when I say things, people like know what I'm talking about, even though that's absolutely not the case. Ridiculous.
I think as well something that I just thought of, that I know sometimes when you're in that mood, like, or I'm in a mood about something, you don't always feel like doing things. But I think, like, sometimes if you'd have gone ahead and we'd have done the show, maybe, even though all that stuff's happening outside of it, it might have took your mind off of the other shit for a bit. I know you don't necessarily want to, like, it's like in your head, you're like, oh, I got to do this. And I've done that with things before, but sometimes if you make yourself go and do it, once you've started doing whatever it is, you start enjoying it, and it'll take your mind off whatever other problems are happening at that point as well.
Right. Yeah, no, definitely. That does make sense, especially because it's when you have the issues like I got, it's real easy to fucking just sit and obsess and just stew over it. And just, I think that's the shit that winds up killing you in the end. It's not even really the bursts of anger and all that shit definitely add to it. But I think just the constant obsessing over shit that, like, all these things that have happened in our life. The fire alarm is being fucked up. There's probably mold on our refrigerator because these people just don't. They threw this place together. There's mold all over this building. Nobody wants to take care of anything. We got no food. Like, there's always a fucking issue. But most of these things are not things that we can fucking control. So why are you gonna sit and obsess over it? You can't make somebody do their job. You have to go and fucking do yours. You can't worry about what other people do. But
I think you learn that as well, like, as you get older. Like, you learn to just stop fighting things you, like you just said, that you don't have control over.
it's really hard to do, and it's almost like every time you have to relearn that lesson. But that's the important part to know, is that it happens to everybody. It's not just me or you. Like, we all go through that, where we have to go, like, all right, we've been through this. You can't allow it to take over your life when you can't make a change. There's just nothing that you can do. You have to just try to improve your life where you can and forget about the shit that you can't, or at least try not to obsess over it as much.
So hopefully everyone that watches these, there won't be that much of a break before we bring another one back, because obviously all that stuff we just spoke about happened, and that's why this one was so delayed. But hopefully,
there's that, and then there is also the fact that StreamYard only allows you to stream for 20 hours a month. So I've been trying to balance doing a regular live stream show and then also save time to do this show as well. So, but you know, we'll figure that out as we go along, and we get a little more comfortable with how we're doing this, because we're still kind of figuring it out as we go. But I kind of think that's probably the best way to do it, just because, I mean, again, both of us we're 6 hours time difference
I
right
think
now.
that's what people don't realize, the amount of times we've tried to do videos, and the amount of times we've got the times wrong. And I'm like, whether I'm up late at night or you're up late at night, and then the other one's like asleep or not even aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, that's happened, like, for people that are watching, that's happened about 5 times with us, where we planned something and it's just fucked up. So
I mean, yeah, it's gonna happen, dude. So I mean, you have to kind of be patient with us, just like you. We're figuring out how we're. The only difference is there's nobody to train it. Nobody trains you how to do this. You have to figure it out on your own, which is what we're doing. So we asked you to try to be a little patient. I know we're a little all over the place. We're unorthodox. We don't do things the way other people do it, but that's why we're doing it, because we bring a completely different perspective to this whole situation.
And also, I was watching a video you did the other day about reactions and saying, "You're gonna have to pay me, bitch." I was like,
oh, I wanted to bring that up. Do you believe that fucking guy has a set of balls on him? I tell you what, to fucking hit me up and go, bro, you have to watch this Babylon AED. He'll share it with everybody. You'll get tons of views. 100. All right, first of all, just the fact that you could have just left it as, can you check out blah, 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 whatever it is. I understand. This is the part that bothers me. You're going from comment section to comment section and just dropping this off. Take 5 minutes. Look around on the channel. Anybody who has ever dropped a comment and said, can you please check out whatever it is? I've done it. You don't have to. Don't try to win me over and say you're going to get me 1 million views. I don't care about that. That's not why I do it. But, you know, it starts with that. And then I go and I listen to the song, and I don't even want to, just because of the way that this guy has already presented it. But I do it just out of respect for music in general. And then I got that comment like 2 weeks before I recorded it. I searched, nobody searched it, and then I was like, well, you know what, fuck him, who gives a shit. And then I see that you did it, because I went to search it right before I recorded it, and I saw that you did it, and I was like, all right, well, if he did it, then if I do it, this will at least be something I could get out of it, because I could do it, and then I could go and watch it and see what he thinks. And once again, couldn't be complete. I was absolutely shocked on the other end of the phone when you listened to it. You were like, oh, this is fucking amazing. I was like, okay, this is definitely a cultural difference here between.
What I didn't like about it, though, is that he started commenting. I think it was on your video, and he said to me something like, "I appreciate you," to me.
Well, this is what he said, because I remember it because I'm petty. He said, "Thanks, BCHQ, for watching the video. At least you're a decent person."
And I was going to say to him, mate, this ain't got nothing to do with me. This is between you and him. But because he then put something else after, like he was like, I don't know what this guy's fucking problem is or something. I thought, I'm not even replying to you, mate, because you're trying to stir up shit.
Right now, he said that to you, and I fucking immediately, I was like, oh, cool. you think you're gonna insult me secondhand to somebody else that I know? I don't think so. So then I'm like, you know what, dude? Fuck you and go spam somewhere else. Then he writes
Because I
back.
think he did that because he wants me to be like, yeah, he's got a fucking problem with you. Fuck him. I think that's why he put that comment, because he wanted me to do that.
Right, or even to be like, well, you know, I mean, I love this song. Just because he doesn't like it is okay. Like, dude, I like the fact that we have two different opinions. I enjoy that. I talk all the time that you can't live in a fucking echo chamber. It's not healthy. But just the fact that he would try to pull anybody out of a comment section into the argument, never mind another creator that you have gone out of your way to try to reach. And then you're so ignorant, you don't even know that we do things together. You fucking douchebag. Like, what the fuck? So, you know, it's that. And I'm like, even if I thought to myself, like, even if you did respond to him, no matter what your response would have been, I was like, he is in the wrong, not you. You know what I mean? So I mean you, not me. You see what I'm saying? But you know, he wrote back. Actually, I'm gonna pull it up because what he wrote to me, I think I did a video for it and then I didn't release it just because it's like, you know what? Why even bother? Although, I mean, you know, what can you do? Well, let me, I want to read it exactly the way that it was written. Oh, here you go. Here's the whole thing. Literally reacted to this about 2 days ago. And I said somebody was saying he's a big deal in the comments, right? Looked it up last week, and then I think I put it aside and looked it up again, and I saw you did it. But fuck it, I'll still do it. Gotta watch yours to see what you think. And then he said, yeah, they were just promoting. And then I say back to you, I don't think we agree much on music, but we have the exact opposite opinion, which did make me laugh very hard when I watched it. I couldn't believe it. I was in shock. I was fucking as soon as you were like, oh fuck, I was like, this is the greatest.
Back to the other week, I bet you was back to that fucking British guy.
Dude, so then this guy comes underneath and he says, sorry, I was just promoting my cousin. I didn't realize I was doing anything wrong. Oh, well, that's because I commented and I wrote to him saying, listen, if you want me to do this, is not the way you go about doing it. And this is to everybody on YouTube. When it's applicable, my DMs on Twitter and Instagram are open. In other words, and I put my fucking email in the channel part of my YouTube so that if you want me to do something, you can reach out to me directly, not in the comment section. Because when you write it in the comment section, I then feel obligated to do it because now everybody sees it, and if I ignore you, I'm an asshole. Now I don't mind doing it. But you see, what bothers me, it's okay if a regular person suggests something in the comments, but you know the artist. That's a whole different level of dirty. You could take 5 minutes out of your life and write a DM or an email. And then, you know, we go back and forth. And now, you know, I did say you should pay me, which I've done reactions for artists for free a whole bunch of times. But it's when you try to act like you're a bigger deal than you are, then all right, then you should have if you're as big as you say you are, then why can't you pay? You should. So then I basically comment that to him, and he says, you know, clearly you were upset. I didn't know that I did anything wrong. And then he says to you, he says, at BCHQ, you're a cool guy. Thank you for being a decent person. And I was like, you know what? Fuck you, spam somewhere else. And he writes back to me the greatest comment ever been invented. At BCHQ, I don't understand why. Oh, I didn't even read this. He erased his other comment, that cocksmoker, and he added a different one. He originally said that basically, you know, I live in America, that I should be grateful that I don't live in Palestine. Pause. 100% you're right. I live in America, and I should be thankful that I happen to draw a good card. Yes, I'm a disabled person, but as places to be born are concerned, this is definitely not one of the worst ones to land. Then he continues on to say, basically, that I need to let go of the anger and go hug a tree or some shit, and that I should eat as well. Which, I mean, I don't know how he knew that there was no food in our fridge, but I mean, but then he adds this to you 3 days ago, and he says at BCHQ, I don't understand why this Jack Trade guy is so upset. That's my gimmick, dude. What do you mean? That's who I am as a person.
Yeah, that's what I was on about earlier. He sent that, and he's obviously wanting me to go, yeah, you're right, fuck that guy. And I was like, I'm not even responding to you, mate, because you're just trying to start shit and dig stuff up. So I was just like, I didn't reply to him, but yeah, I didn't appreciate getting dragged into it, but also the fact, like you said, he's not even aware that like me and you do stuff.
Yeah, ridiculous. But then he goes on, he continues to say he must have had a really hard life. I really feel for him. I think I'll pray twice a day for him for a while. Like, all right, you know what, dude? Not that you're going to watch this, but I just want to put this out as a PSA to everybody in the world. Don't pray for me. Don't pray for me. And here's why. It's not that I don't appreciate the gesture, but I do feel like that is a very backhanded thing to say to somebody. If you really felt that way, that would be something that you would do in the privacy of your own mind, and you would not announce it to the world, right? But I have a bit of a beef with organized religion, but it's a whole situation. The point basically being is this, dude. I have had a hard life. Not the hardest. I know plenty of people who have had harder lives than I have, despite I may have more issues than them. I have been lucky in the sense that I have experienced love in my life. I've experienced friendship, pain, everything, all of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yes, it's been bad, and there are times that I fly off the fucking handle. And you know what? I'm not saying that I'm right all the time, but this passive aggressive nonsense is doesn't have, in my opinion, passive aggressive bullshit doesn't have a place in this world. Life is way too short to not just say what is in your heart. You want somebody to react to something that you want, say that. If you think that you and your fucking cousin are so goddamn good, then why is it that you're hitting comment sections trying to get your music should speak for itself, is all I'm trying to say. Not saying it doesn't. I'm not saying it doesn't. And I know one guy might not have anything to do with the other, but don't ever come up in my comment section and be condescending, especially not to somebody else in the comment section. You're a big boy, I'm a big boy, and we can handle this shit between ourselves. There's absolutely no reason to drag anyone else into it. And that's just a real silly thing to do. Now, I did not react the right way that I should have, in the sense that I allowed some stranger, no-face nobody to get on my nerves, and I have to do better with not allowing that to happen. However, I do want you to know that, like you, I am just a person, and some days small things get to me a lot faster than other days. We all have these things that we gotta go through. But look, if we can put plane tickets and assault behind us and do a fucking a couple hours show about a martial arts thing, dude, I mean, I think the rest of you can get it together, right? So look, I mean, I do
want to
want
say before we finish,
yeah.
just to what you were saying earlier, really, is just for people that are watching, just to be patient with us, because what I was going to say before we went off into that is that, and we've said it before, like, we don't get paid to do this.
No.
And so, like, with everything, like, we've spoke about why it's taken so long to do this one and stuff, and like, people got to realize that a lot of people wouldn't even come back and do one, even if they were getting paid for it, in my opinion, because it takes a lot of effort. And like you said, we like the time difference, and both got different things going on. And so I think like people just need to kind of respect and kind of hush their talk sometimes when they're like demanding of you, because we're not getting paid to do this. So do you know what I mean? Like, even though
Right.
we're passionate about it, they've still got to take that into consideration, that like they can only get a certain level of frustrated with us if they're wanting material from us, because, as I said, we've still got to plan it and have the time to do it, and we're on top of that, we're not getting paid to do it. So just be patient with us.
Yeah, because we are putting it together. It's not that we don't see. I don't want anybody to hear that and go, "Oh, well, they must just not appreciate the fact that, you know, we take our time to watch it. Doesn't that count for something?" And yes, it does. But you also have to understand that it's a two-way street. We appreciate anybody and everybody that stops by, regardless for how long, and, you know, check out the video and watch the stuff and all of that. But you have to understand, the goal is not necessarily money, right? And even if we were getting paid, it wouldn't make it any fucking easier to do it, but it would make the incentive a little bit more to be like, I know this is a pain in the ass, but at least we're getting money for it. But the fact that we're still doing it for free should mean even more to you as a fan of just content in general.
Should hopefully prove to people that, even though we've only put a couple out, that there will be more coming, because we've proven that we do it. We do it for free. So it's just having that patience of, we might not always be able to give you a date of when it's coming out, but just know that there is stuff that will be coming out. We just got
this is not detox. This is not detox. The show will come eventually.
So yeah, man. That was the last thing I wanted to say, really. So I got to head off in a minute. I don't know if you want to wrap it up or you're going to continue, but I got to head off in a minute.
All right, yeah, I'll wrap it up here. So this was Chinese Hercules. The next one we're gonna figure out it's between Bloodsport and the other one that I mentioned earlier. Two completely different movies, two completely different stages in time, honestly. But that's what's interesting about this. We don't know which way we're gonna go. There's not a set date of when these come out. All I'd ask you, subscribe to BCHQ. He has motivational speaking, reaction videos, like literally. He dabbles.
I just started doing sports ones as well on there. So I'm
I mean, come on. What more do you want? What more do you want from the fucking guy? How much more does he got to do? What does he got to do? Jesus, battle rapping, reaction fucking videos, motivational speaking, sports. I mean, for fuck's sake, dude. You want a guy to buy you the computer and press the subscribe button, dude? Cut him a break. He deserves it. The man has been working for years. Years. You don't know.
I got my YouTube channel in 2011.
See that?
I only got 1,000 subscribers this year, so, and I've done all of this without. I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet. I'm just putting it into context. Like, I got my channel in 2011, and I reached 1,000 subscribers earlier this year. And do you know what I mean? There's been many times where I could have just quit making videos, especially because I'm not getting paid for it. But because I love doing it, I stuck with it. And even though most people be like 1,000 subscribers, that's not a lot to most YouTubers, but to me, that's massive. Because me and you know how long it takes to get to these sort of numbers, even though they're miniature to other people, they're massive to us. So
the way that the problem is that they see so many creators with 1 million, whatever it is, and they forget, just if you think 1,000 or even 550, which I just hit today, which I'm fucking super excited about, just because I want to see now how long it's going to take to go back to 547. Thank you. And you too on hitting 1,000. I'm sure, you know, the rest of them are coming. Don't worry about it. They don't know yet, but they'll be there soon. I know it. But what was I going to say? If you think 550 or 1,000 is not a lot, think about when the last time was that you were in a room with 550 people. Or you were in a room with 1,000 people. And then I want you to imagine going into the center of all those people and then just begin to talk about something and hope that maybe you'll keep their attention. Just think about that. Don't ever underplay. Every subscriber means something. This is not just a road to 1 million. Not everybody's going to be fucking Joe Rogan, right? But look at what that guy had to do. That's a whole separate thing. But it just goes to show you there's a trade-off on every level. That guy gets 100 million for his podcast, and guess who's not on it? Joey Diaz, Joe List, and people of that, like, you know, controversial guests are no longer on there. He had to train up. So there's not, it's not, while you think, you know, sure, it's great to have 1 million. There's something to be said about operating under the radar. But either way, subscribe to his channel. I have the Laughing at Birds podcast every Saturday, 5 a.m. Check your local podcast listings, iTunes, Spotify. It's on 11 platforms total. And the YouTube channel, Jack of One Trade. There's over 1,000 videos on my YouTube channel. That is not an exaggeration. I put in work, people. So I'm transitioning from reaction videos to doing podcasts and stuff. I'm trying to find my way. I'm trying to find my voice. So if you would be so kind, check that out. Follow me on Instagram at Laughing Birds Pod, on the Twitter at Laughing Birds. Hoodies, $30. T-shirts are $10. Listen to me, dude. You're not gonna find a better deal on the internet. I guarantee it. I've done the research. We have the cheapest merchandise anywhere on the internet. Hand painted by an independent artist. There's no 11-year-olds putting shirts together in this house, buddy. We do all this shit on our own. So support independent art. Support my friend from across the pond. I would appreciate it. He would appreciate it. And not to mention, you should appreciate it, because if you don't, you're missing out on a lot of good content. And I can tell you that because I regularly do check in on what he's doing and watch it, but I try not to get too influenced by it. So, you know, but definitely if you're not subscribed, you're missing out, dude. And, you know, there's tons of content all over the place. Definitely check it out. We will be back. Not sure when. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. And also, before I forget, thank you to the person who suggested Chinese Hercules.
Yeah.
It was on the back end of the Ong Bak film. Sorry it took so long to get to you, but we will be back. So feel free to leave your suggestions in the comments or reach out via social media, whatever it is. And we will see you the next time we get together.
See you later, man. Thanks.
All right.
See you later,
Yeah, love it. Glad that we got to do this shit, dude.
Later,
Love
man.
it.